He was okay. He looked like he escaped unscathed. Some stitches. Tried to ride earlier today, but is now off his mounts the remainder of the afternoon.
After following the race number 3, it was announced that he would be taking off the remainder of his mounts. Looks like the number 7 Gettysburg Address will be ridden by Walter Dela Cruz. They're updated, and he got stitches. He was sore, and it's always, you know, they kind of get a rhythm. They think they can do it, and it just wasn't the case for him today. But we're hoping to see him right back here. He gets 3 weeks of break, so a nice time. Not ever a good time to have a spill, but in terms of having the time to recover and come back for the classic meet, certainly works out.
Heroes medal number 4, 7-2 now. Tepid choice as they march towards the starting gate, typically off the pace. What does the pace look like on paper? What can we look for early on?
Well, I would hope that the number 5 will be a little bit more forwardly placed off of that last effort around this level, but there's not an overabundance of pace there. I would hope the number 9 used that speed last time out and could be more forwardly placed, but definitely not a lot on hand. I think you're going to want to look for one that's hopefully going to be a little bit more forward.
Final day of this holiday meet, 4th race of 11 at the starting gate. Mile and a 16th, $12,500 claiming event wide open. Matt Dinnerman with the load and call 4th race live. Oaklawn on FS1.
And the runners are now loading into the gate. Papa Funny has gone in. Gettysburg Address. Betera has loaded. Cozy My Boy coming up. And Cozy My Boy actually is the best turned out award winner here in race number 4. Groomed by Saul Melchor for trainer Carlos Santamaria. Cozy My Boy, the best turned out award winner. Saul receives $100 courtesy of the Arkansas HBPA, the groom of the best turned out award. Heroes medal, Hop and John have gone in. They have loaded Red Devil. Reveille Valley coming up. Ember loads, 2 back. Gino Hollander. Looks like one still behind the gate, Mighty Atlas. They have not loaded him. He'll be one of the last ones to step in. Ember is loaded. Here's Mighty Atlas. Outside post, Coppermaster. Full field here, set to negotiate a mile and a 16th. We're ready to go. And Laruff having to take up right at the start. Red Devil. The gray, Reveille Valley on the lead and spurts away by 1.5 lengths early. Gettysburg Address in the bridle early, claims the 2nd spot. Heroes medal 3rd. Betera inside of him as they charge into the turn. Cozy My Boy on the outside now, 2.5 lengths off the pace early. Heroes medal, Mighty Atlas, they run as a pair. 1.5 lengths back to Ember. Papa Funny, he's alongside of Hop and John. They're 2 better than Coppermeister, aggressively ridden onto the backstretch. Gino Hollander, he's 2nd to last, and Red Devil now joins him as they swing up the backstretch. 12 lengths from tip to tail. Reveille Valley, Ramon Vasquez. Clear 1.5 lengths from Betera in 2nd. Gettysburg Address, Keen, but the rider, Walter Dela Cruz, trying to get him to relax, and he's 3rd, more settled down the backside. 1.5 lengths to Cozy My Boy. Mighty Atlas to his inside. Heroes medal is now moving through between that pair. A gap of 2. Hop and John, a break of 1.5 lengths to Ember. He's sent along with Papa Funny. Both runners aggressively ridden here. Then Red Devil, he's still towards the back of the field. Coppermaster's not going to get it done, and Gino Hollander is still well behind. Around the far turn, Reveille Valley has the lead. Gettysburg Address coming up the challenge now, and a 3-deep Cozy My Boy's getting into things at 7-1. He's 3 wide. Gettysburg Address grabs the lead. Reveille Valley has come under siege here. Cozy My Boy picks up the running in the 2nd spot. Gettysburg Address off the turn with the lead coming down the stretch, 1.5 lengths in front. Cozy My Boy's 2nd. Heroes medal on the grandstand side trying to reel in those leaders with 1 furlong to go. It's Gettysburg Address. Gettysburg Address, 1.5 lengths in front. Heroes medal into 2nd. Gettysburg Address is asked to finish. Heroes medal lunging at him late. It's going to get tight. Here it is. Photo finish. Very tight. Inside, it's Gettysburg Address. Outside, Heroes medal. Space to Betera. And then came Cozy My Boy.
Bang, bang finish in this 4th race. Oaklawn Park, Gettysburg Address desperately trying to hold on. Heroes medal surges late.
Not quite sure who got that one. Lafitte, the number 7, Gettysburg Address. Extremely hard to settle early. Very rank pickup mount there for Walter Dela Cruz, who definitely had to work for it. Had to get him to settle around the backstretch. Didn't look like he was going to, but finally was able to kind of get him where he needed to be. And it's a pretty close finish. We'll see who edged it out. But first time gelding there for the number 4 Heroes Medal really seemed to wake his horse up there for the Cantor Mossy barn.
So close at the wire. Crowd reacting to the replays. Walter Dela Cruz, yeah, his arms might fall off after that ride. Fighting Gettysburg Address. Gettysburg Address pulling. Did it cost him? We don't know. Photo yacht not yet available. As soon as it is, we'll pass that along as we say hello to our friends in New York. Welcome back from vacation, Greg Wolf. And in doing so, gets to spend the afternoon with Andy Serling.
Hey, this is
I don't know if I like that.
You're like my work wife. We spend more time together than I do with my actual wife. It's good to be back. Had a great time away, but absolutely great to be back. Late pick 4 coming up next. We're a minute to post here. This 5th at Aqueduct. 20 maiden claiming race, 1 turn mile. We have a 3-5 favorite here.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there's nobody on earth happier to see you back than me. I actually had to work the last few days because you were gone. Now I really don't have to do anything now that you're here. I smoked out the 3-5 shot. I mean, I'm just getting desperate trying to pick a winner. And, I knew this horse would never be the morning line and assume would be a heavy favorite.
For Tom Morley, drop-in class, Sahin Savachi rides. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, while Will of a Woman looks like the horse to beat on paper, she does so in the flesh too. But, taking her on are some other horses I found a little bit interesting, including number 7 in here, AP Slingshot. Kind of been following her closely. She doesn't have that much early speed, at least going a bit shorter, though. You go back to her 1 mile try in the slop, she was more forward, and she's presenting herself like she'll be more forward with the added ground. She was on the muscle in the paddock and out on the track. She had a very animated warm-up, as we do see a late scratch here with number 1 Jalamar getting back to number 7 AP Slingshot. I just thought she, in the face of the favorite, looked very good, relatively speaking, and I really liked her even more so in that warm-up and going out for Bruce Levine. Always pay attention to anything he sends out here as number 6. She's had her chances. Autumn's Turn, 0 for 26. Will lucky number 27 be the answer? I don't like horses like this, obviously, but what I will say is that 2 back, she was a nervous wreck. They tried to do her on the walk. She was washed out. She looked really light, and she still ran second that day, albeit a well-beaten second. Okay last time behind a very slow pace and a prohibitive a horse that was even money in Karis Chianti, who did have a pace advantage that day. And looking at her, she was actually incredibly well behaved on this particular occasion, saddled inside the stall with the pony with her. She's maintained that more calm demeanor with the lead up to this race, and actually her weight looks a bit better. So she's not one I can recommend whatsoever on paper, but at least there's some little improvements in the way that she's acting, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Late scratch of the one as you see. By the way, back at that photo at Oaklawn, it was the favorite, the 7, Gettysburg Address with a win.
Got very close. Tough to call those photos. And looking at the favorite here, Will of a Woman. I mean, listen, I know you were a little interested in the 8, Fire Agate, than I was. I think the outside post might help that one break a little more cleanly today. As far as Will of a Woman, I mean, it just felt to me like the 3 times that she's run in the dirt, she's run against better horses. And I think Tom and Morley, her trainer, is just being realistic, putting her in this spot, trying to win a race. I don't have anything clever to say here.
She deserves to be a heavy favorite.
Yeah, she should be. I mean, she's run 3 times in the dirt, and she's just consistently running speed figures that are not just a little faster, but are faster than the other horse in this race. She's a very logical type horse. I guess the biggest question with her is a mile, right? I mean, she's only run shorter in her dirt races. She's run fine going longer on turf, but turf isn't as much stamina as it is in the dirt going a mile. So maybe that's one potential downfall.
4-5 as we get set for the start of the first leg of this pick 4 on Will of a Woman. Sahin Savachi for Tom Morley. Inherits the rail with the late scratch of the 1. Late pick 4 starts here in the 5th. Let's send it upstairs to Chris Griffin for the call.
Loading, there's 'Tis All Mine. Gracie Girl. Autumn's Turn. 2 out. AP Slingshot. And Fire Agate. Fire Agate goes in. All set. And they're off. Gracie Girl right out to the front and gets there easily. Here comes Will of a Woman down towards the inside, a challenging second, and Fire Agate in that early mix too. That's the top trio, as they are now 3 lengths in front of 'Tis All Mine, who's alone in 4th. They're followed by Autumn's Turn and the trailer, AP Slingshot. 3 of them here as they come out of the chute and hook up with the backstretch, and Fire Agate will now press on. Is up by a length and a half. Will of a Woman tightly at the rail is now in tandem with Gracie Girl as they went 24.31 for the opening quarter mile. Still a gap of 6, almost 7 lengths here back to AP Slingshot. Starts to cut into the margin now with Autumn's Turn, and tailing off distant trailer, 'Tis All Mine. Fire Agate got over to the rail, and Flavian Pratt, they're in command as they approach a half-mile left to go. Right there, ready to challenge and moving to the outside. Going to be in the 2 path is Will of a Woman. Losing some ground was Gracie Girl. Here comes a run towards the inside from AP Slingshot. Is about to challenge for that 3rd position. Starts to cut into the margin of a 48.4 half-mile time. Will of a Woman has now confronted Fire Agate, but company is coming here from AP Slingshot and also Autumn's Turn. They're 3rd and 4th, and they move towards the outside. Will of a Woman has got the lead as they reach the top of the stretch. Fire Agate's got to do better down towards the inside. Here comes the pink cap of AP Slingshot down the center of the racetrack in Autumn's Turn. Will of a Woman digging in here in between horses there. AP Slingshot, who starts to drift out. Autumn's Turn trying to catch them both inside the final furlong. AP Slingshot now with a half-length advantage. Autumn's Turn with every shot to push on by. Autumn's Turn now with a nose in front. AP Slingshot to the inside. Autumn's Turn gets up to win it. AP Slingshot second, then Will of a Woman and Fire Agate. Woman at 43-4.
0 for 26 in the rear view. Autumn's Turn finally breaks through, gets the first win of her career as a 5-year-old mare.
You know, if you bet the 7, and I didn't, but if you did, you're thinking, okay, all I got to do now is hold off the 6. Everybody holds the 6 off. And yet today, the 6 ran her down. Got the job done. Tough beat if you had the 7 at 6-1. But Autumn's Turn, she got it done today in her 27 start. And I guess at the end of the day, Will of a Woman, her excuse has to be the mile. She just couldn't get the distance.
6-7-2. There's your winner. 5-year-old mare by Tonalist, Wayne Pottsbarn. 0 for 26 coming in, wins at 7-2. 6-7-2-8. Here in race 5.
This is a horse that I picked second, but I would have signaled the 2 in any multi-race bets because this is the kind of horse that you feel sort of comfortable putting second, but you just don't want to have on top. So there are horses you pick second, you could have bet on them, and there are horses you pick second that you couldn't have bet on. I could never bet a horse like this.
Well, she was 4-5 in a mile last time out. Was runner-up yet again. This time finally gets the money. Still to come, Mike Baker. We'll see him in the feature at Oaklawn with Woodstock already a stakes winner at Remington. We'll try and add another to the resume later in the card in Hot Springs. Back with you on America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all at NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Race 5 at Aqueduct goes to Autumn's turn. 0 for 26 coming in. And now 1 for 27 finally breaking through.
I mean, these are the kind of horses in these maiden races that many of us just continually bet against, and usually it works out. Did not work out today. Was not a heavy favorite, but still not the kind of horse I could take. But sometimes they just find the right field and got the right ride. And can't say enough about Jamie Rodriguez, who's come here and he's made a very, very good impression on a lot of people, and rightfully so. He's ridden extremely well.
Yeah, good for him. And a 7-2 upset, 4-5 favorite. Just no response yet. This stretch out in distance here, despite the drop in class, and another short price gets beat.
Yeah. No, we'll see what goes on going forward.
Race 6. Oh, let's show you prices first before we move on. They're in. Here we go. $9.28 for the victory. AP Slingshot, Will of a Woman. 50-cent trifecta. $20.23 for the 50-cent play. Healthy pick 3 as well. And a pick 5 ending there, over $2,800. Race 6, 6.5 furlongs, New York Preds, maiden special weight. And interesting group in here. 3-9's fine on the outside. That price will come way down very quick from the outside post, but back-to-back runner-ups at the level.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like the loss last time out, but don't disagree that she's the horse to beat. I picked the 2 Garden of Grace, kind of knowing that her morning line was too high. The one time that she ran on the dirt, she ran against significantly better horses, and since running on the turf, she's run okay. George Weaver seems to do well with these type of horses, but going to have to get better than 8-5 to want to bet. Looking at some multi-race bets, it does appear the 8 will be favored by post time.
Yeah, and Garden of Grace, as you said, the one time she did run on dirt against better company, it was the first start of her career, so you could give her that excuse as well. So it's been all turf since. Back to dirt today. We'll dive in deeper to race 6 momentarily. Here's what's ahead. Presented by Claiborne Farm. So races 6 through 8 to come here in New York on this fast track, and out in Hot Springs, the Mockingbird is their feature. They are fast at Oaklawn. Races 5 through 11 to come. Race 9 is that Mockingbird. $150,000 purse for 3-year-old fillies. And we mentioned going to break. Mike Maker, he will send out Woodstock, stakes winner in Remington, won the debut as well. Looking for win number 3 in her 6th career start. With more on the field, let's go to Lafitte and Megan.
Yeah, Greg, it's the female equivalent of yesterday's stakes race for 3-year-old sprinters. Obliteration was simply sensational in the Renaissance. Now it's the 3-year-old filly's turn. Woodstock, having lost her last 2 races, why is she the favorite today?
She's been keeping some solid company. When you take a look at that Myrtlewood, she actually finished in front of a dual stakes winner now in Counting Stars, as we'll take a look at that performance. It was a strong group. She made an earlier move after tracking 3 wide throughout and had that bid where she looked like she had some run on the outside of the top 2 and just didn't have quite enough late. But that was a very strong group of sprinters there. And as I mentioned, Counting Stars we've seen come back to
2-time stakes winner here.
To really establish herself at Oaklawn Park. So she's been keeping those form lines, and she does look, if she can put things together, a bit better than some others in this group, but just based on facts and figures alone, it's pretty competitive.
And then Walkaway K. This was her debut. Walkaway K, 3-1. Number 5 in the Mockingbird later today. That debut mid-November, Remington. She was relatively cold on the board at 7-1, and Walkaway K rallies and wins.
Coming off of the pace is her niche, and in terms of these kinds of races at Oaklawn, I don't love that fact about her, but didn't take as much money. Danny Pish isn't lethal as far as his first-time starters are concerned, but was second to Counting Stars last time out in that Astral Spa, where she was just well beaten that day, but she did do some running, did regressed a bit in that speed figure, which I don't love, and I'm not overly in love with her. She's kind of a dweller. We'll see if she can take a step forward, because that's what she needs.
These fillies obviously running under it here at Oaklawn Park, but you never know. Moving forward, we watch She's So Spicy as an odds-on favorite. Running this race last year, she was defeated. Yeah, that same She's So Spicy who wound up in the winner's circle of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint last fall out west.
The Eclipse Award finalists announced, and she is among them. So it's just such an impressive campaign as she got to turf, of course, after that dirt start here in the Mockingbird, and certainly moved forward.
Francisco Arrieta won last year's Mockingbird. GW's Girl, looking to go back-to-back, rides the favorite Woodstock. Not the only title he's out to defend. Arrieta, last season's Oaklawn riding champ. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1.
$1,600,000, thank you.
You bet with NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NYRA Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NYRA Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NYRA Bets.
In racing, bloodlines are kingdoms, and every kingdom needs an heir. Sired by Uncle Mo, Kingsbarns was chosen for greatness. An $800,000 two-year-old built like an empire. He defeated champion Arcangelo on debut, dominated the Louisiana Derby in his third start, and achieved a defining victory in the Grade 1 Stephen Foster. Kingsbarns, where the line of kings continues.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away. When you want to reward yourself. When you deserve to indulge. When you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing starts December 12th. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs. And come join the fun.
Back with you on our Sunday coverage of America's Day at the Races. We're approaching the 12-minute mark to post in race 6 at Aqueduct. 6.5 furlong, New York bred. Maiden special weight, where we knew that price would not last on 3-9's fine. 2-1 favorite right now from the outside slot. Speed, can this filly finally break through today and finish a race?
Well, that's the problem, right? She's going 6.5 furlongs and she's got to finish. I wish I could make an excuse for her last race. I mean, yeah, she beat Sassetti, but she didn't even beat Sassetti by that much. And, you know, you look at Sassetti's form as her first race on dirt. Maybe she's okay. I think she is the horse to beat 3-9's 5, but only because Garden of Grace is a bit of a wild card in the sense that we're not confident that she is a dirt horse. I took the 2 because I just didn't trust the 8 to hold on. Feels like she's the one to beat, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's her in the Bay Silks just getting beat. There did hold on, I guess, gamely for second, but you would have liked to see her seal the deal after she gave up the lead the start prior as well.
Now, the horse who beat her, Rare Society, as you can see, she'd beaten by 6 lengths in her prior start. Rare Society, Linda Rice, long shot, improved a lot for that after that race. So maybe she just took a big step forward. I'm a little skeptical. I prefer the 2, but you know, it's hard to love anybody in this race, Greg.
You know, the 2 Garden of Grace, as we mentioned, only dirt start was the debut in a loaded group with 2 next out winners, including K-Cup. It's been all turf since. Back to dirt today with more. Let's go to Maggie.
Now, Greg, 3-9's fine is much more of my type of horse. I prefer the looks of her in the paddock. You know that she can run on the dirt. You know she has speed, and she has a comfortable outside post. And furthermore, she just looks best here for Dave Duggan. Whereas her main rival, as you guys were just mentioning, number 2, Garden of Grace, as Jamie Rodriguez looks to go back-to-back here on our program. I don't know about her. It's not the turf angle that concerns me. It's just her. She is just consistently always a nervous wreck. You know, I talked about it last time in the last race with number 6, Autumn's Turn, and how she had the propensity to be that way. And finally today, she was acting so well. Well, look at this horse here in the paddock. She has a hood on. She's, you know, acting up. She's going to be tough to get the tack on. They're doing a great job here. But this is the way that she has been prior to her turf races as well, and she's run fine. But she's never a horse I can personally endorse with the way that she acts, as she doesn't look overly turf either. So I'm okay with this surface change. I just wish she'd relax. As a horse I am a little intrigued by is a bit of an unknown here with number 5, You Know Better. She returned in a maiden 50 last time out, albeit trying to sprint on the turf, which it was a disastrous beginning in which she clipped heels shortly after the start and sent her propelling backwards in the field. So she just lost so much ground that day. And I'm willing to give her another shot here, coming back second off the bench. She's not the biggest, and yes, do I wish this was a maiden claimer? But she's going to try to step back up here in class, and she's a little bit of a smaller type, but she's incredibly fit now. Resplendent coat on her. She looks the same as what she did going back to the end of November here, and I don't think she's overly turf meant at all. In fact, I wrote that in my notes last time out. So I think there's a little bit of upside here for this Jorge Abreu trainee. Guys?
All right, Maggie, thank you. We'll get close to the post parade here. I'm approaching the 8-minute mark to post as we get a look at this 4-year-old filly by Munnings, 11-1 on You Know Better.
Yeah, obviously I gave You Know Better a long look. What I really didn't like about her was that she took absolutely no money in her debut, but she's a big price if you like her.
Post parade at Oaklawn, back to Lafitte and Megan.
A really good allowance race. Let's meet the field. You're looking at Notary, third place finisher in the 2024 Razorback.
Comes off the bench from September. Lightly raced 8-year-old who we haven't seen but twice this year.
That's a $1.75 million 5-year-old gun party.
Out of grade 2 Acorn winner Karina Mia.
Otello, outsider, and now with Rob Atris, Oaklawn debut.
Another coming off the layoff and the first time at Oaklawn Park.
Presidential outrunning his odds of late.
He has. I think he could here as well. He looked fantastic.
Welcome back to Oaklawn Park, Catching Freedom.
Grade 2 Louisiana Derby winner and 4th place finisher behind the likes of Sierra Leone. That trio, we'll see if he can get back in the winner's circle.
Smarty Jones winner as well. Then Winnemac Avenue, a last win December of 2023.
Sneaky there at 7-1, working sharp off the bench and 2 for 7 at Oaklawn Park.
Wood Court, make the rider Abel Cedillo.
Speed and did so drooling on the front end of a stake race last time out and looks to redeem.
Sees the night. Trainer Sippy Contreras looking for back-to-back winners.
Claimed last out for 62.5 and quick turnaround here.
Empire Builder on the outside, 7-year-old with speed.
1 of 2 for the barn, steps up in class and went off as the favorite last time out. You're getting a price there.
Allowance runners, $120,000 purse in this 5th race coming up, Oaklawn. And there he is, Catching Freedom, his first start at Oaklawn since this, 2 years ago. First step towards the Arkansas Derby, Catching Freedom making headlines in this impressive score in the Smarty Jones Stakes.
We know he loves Oaklawn. I mean, 1 for 1 here as he gets back. But gosh, I've always had a bone to pick with this horse. He is just a very unassuming plain Jane. Does not impress you whatsoever, either in the morning or pretty much physically either. And when you're looking at him amidst this group, he's just unassuming and he is athletic. He's fit. Brad Cox has well prepared him. He's coming off a 3rd place finish last time out, but he's just kind of narrow behind. He's just never really striked me physically at all. I've seen him quite a bit through the years now, and he did the same thing for me today. So he could be tactically well managed, though, as far as the pace perspective here. I don't love taking a short price on him whatsoever, but he's one of those that he's not a morning glory, and then he'll surprise you in the afternoon.
When it matters most, back at Oaklawn for the first time since. Christian Torres back aboard for the first time since that Smarty Jones victory. You touched on the fact that he proved he could compete at the highest levels, the 4th in the Derby, the 3rd in the Preakness. What will Catching Freedom do in his return to Oaklawn Park, Megan? And then the expensive colt here in Gun Party, trained by Steve Asmussen, $1.7 million. He has some work to do to prove he was worth it.
He's never been a mid-stakes company. He's out of a grade 2 Acorn winner, and he's kind of a later developing son of Curlin. He's actually the only of her foals to get to the racetrack. He got a late start at 4, and they've just been kind of bringing him along. And I find he could be one of those complicated types where it's just you scratch your head a little bit when he runs some of those better races, too, back at Saratoga, where he just dominated. And then last time out was a no-show on a wet track, which I don't find that he particularly enjoyed. But he's got the talent there. there. Is he going to be able to put it all together, getting Joel Rosario? And he does have a tendency to break slow, and he tends to hang on the wrong lead. So he's got some quirks to him that he's going to have to figure out. But a horse of Tap Into This also had some quirks, and Joel managed to figure him out in that stake earlier in the weekend. So we'll see if he can do the same. And you're getting 3-1 on him. He also, I want to see him be a little bit more forwardly placed. He needs to be involved in his race.
About a long shot in Presidential. 2 back, third, 19-1. Second in his latest, 20-1. Ignored once again by the handicappers.
He's a 7-year-old. He looks fantastic, resplendent in his coat. He's fit, and coming off of that effort at Remington, he's going to have to take a step up, but does so out of stakes company. I like him here.
But all eyes on the 2024 Smarty Jones winner, Catching Freedom, back at Oaklawn as we turn things over to Matt Dinnerman with the call. Race 5 Oaklawn live on FS1.
Notary goes it. Gun Party walking up. Here's Seize the Night. Otello walking in. 2 back. Presidential. Hand to the outside post. Empire Builder. Presidential goes in. Empire Builder to the outside post. We're ready to go. And we're off. Catching Freedom bobbled badly at the start. Christian Torres lost an iron momentarily, but it's right back in the foot, right back in the stirrup there. Catching Freedom would have to pass him all to win it. In the meantime, Otello is very ranked, tried to get to the lead. He's going to take a hold now as the pacemaker is Empire Builder, and he's cleared off. He's isolated on the lead. 1.5 lengths in front of Presidential. Otello is keen behind the pace. A 3-deep Seize the Night moving up, and he's claiming second around the clubhouse turn. Woodcourt in the meantime is relaxed off the pace. He's 3.5 lengths behind. 1.5 lengths to Gun Party. Notary to his inside. A 3-deep Winnemac Avenue is the gray, and that leaves Catching Freedom to trail the field. 9 lengths off the lead. They're down the back stretch, and Empire Builder has the lead under Ricardo Santana Jr. 1.5 lengths clear of Presidential between horses and a gallop second. Otello more settled down to the inside. He's niggled along, in fact, with a half mile to go. Seize the Night is still outside 3 deep. Gap of 2. Woodcourt. Abel Cedillo asking him for more as they go into the turn. Winnemac Avenue is following him. He's 6 lengths behind rounding the turn. Gun Party really needs to turn it around. He's second to last with Notary. Catching Freedom still at the back. Around the far turn. Empire Builder keeps going here. 1/2 length in front. Presidential under a ride, but he's right there with the leader coming to the top of the stretch, and Winnemac Avenue is 3 wide getting into it. Winnemac Avenue on the far outside gaining good ground. He's got dead aim on these leaders. Seize the Night in the meantime is coming up the rail. He's in with a big shot. Seize the Night has come through down on the inside to take the lead away from Winnemac Avenue. Seize the Night, 16th to go. Going on with it now. Winnemac Avenue is second. Gun Party's into third. It's going to be Seize the Night. And Amir Mendoza first off the claim for Sippy Contreras. Second home was Winnemac Avenue, then Gun Party, and fourth was Woodcourt.
Continues to impress, does apprentice Amir Mendoza. Seize the Night, back-to-back wins. Sippy Contreras for Catching Freedom. A mess right from the start.
Did not break cleanly whatsoever. Had to take back, spotted the field a few links, and it was not his day. But the number 9 Seize the Night there on the far outside, 4 wide into the first turn, and short rest wasn't an issue for this horse, and they really believed him to take a step forward. He was involved in he actually won the Tinsel back in January of last year, so he's a quality type horse. We could be potentially seeing him in stakes efforts later down the road.
Co-owned Sippy Contreras. 6 lifetime wins, 4 of those here at Oaklawn Park. 9, 6, 2, 8. Greg here at Oaklawn Park as we get ready for the 6th race out of the Big A.
Now here's our post parade for this 6.5 furlong New York bred maiden special weight Sassetti, second start on dirt.
And to be fair, I mean, the horse ran okay last time. If you think the 8 is an 8-5 shot, not sure why this horse isn't at least competitive at a bigger price.
Debuted on dirt in a productive race, and then 4 tries on turf. It's back to dirt for Garden of Grace.
Yeah, and Maggie talking about how she can be a bit act up a little bit and you saw the rider getting back aboard, I still like her chances.
First-time starter for David Donk, Gresham's Law, with a very quick work back on December 11th.
I love the very unstable. She's owned partly and bred by them. We'll see. More turf pedigree.
Red Boots, big price. Manny Franco rides.
Yeah, going out for a barn that's been very live lately. She did improve at least in her last start.
There's Jorge Abreu's You Know Better.
Yeah, I get where Maggie's coming from, and there's some things to like about her. I just wish she had run better in her first start and took some more
Lady
money.
Delilah, second at this level 2 starts ago.
I mean, to be fair, the figure she ran 2 back is fast enough to give her a chance at almost 20-1.
Princess Wadadli went by. Flavian Pratt, first-time starter.
Right. Is she a live firster, or is she taking Flavian money, or the fact that any firster could get bet in here in theory?
And the favorite, the speed of the field, 3-9's fine.
She's the worst to beat. I get it.
So we'll see if she can last again after 2 runner-ups, giving up the lead in each of those last 2. Let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, just a quick update on Garden of Grace. As you saw, Jamie Rodriguez kind of jumping off her there. She wanted to think about flipping over when the groom was trying to take the halter off of her. He felt that, jumped off, and then he cowboyed back up as they were handing her off to the pony. She did calm a bit once they got the tack on her. She is wearing that titanium hood with the earmuffs today. We'll see if that has any bearing on how she performs, but is doing better than the last time I saw her run. Firster is Princess Wadadli for Rob Falcone Jr., as she does present herself as being one that could possibly have speed, especially with Flavian Pratt climbing aboard. She's been sharp. She's built that way, like a little quarter horse. She's about 90% fit. I do think she'll benefit from a start, but look for her to be forward early, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 2-1 on both this first-time starter and the 8. And we were discussing this before we came on the air. It's hard to know. Is it Pratt money? There's always Pratt money, but it is the addition to attract Pratt. There's probably a story with this horse, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean,
7?
that's a good point. And Rob Falcone is, I mean, listen, I think Rob does a terrific job with the horses he has, and he is a trainer that's been known to like his horses, And I'm not saying that, I like Rob, and I'm kind of joking a little bit, but he's, he often will be, very optimistic about his first-time starters. So I wouldn't be surprised if, in fact, he does like this horse. And listen, it's not going to take a Herculean effort to win this race. So if this horse is okay, she's probably found the right field. But she's a king for a day, first-time starter, making her debut, essentially the end of her 3-year-old year, beginning of her 4-year-old year. So not exactly my cup of tea. I don't love to bet first-time starters, but you can't say you'll be surprised when this horse wins. And if she wins, she's probably going to win by 3. She's not going to nose out somebody.
Here's the 6th from Aqueduct. Chris Griffin, the call.
All set. And they're off. Awkward beginning there for Gresham's Law. Speed from in between horses for Red Boots, and Princess Wadadli out wider is also in the early mix. On the far outside, 3-9's fine. That's the top trio. At the rail is the gray. Sassetti is moving towards the outside here. Center of the racetrack comes Lady Delilah. In that group is You Know Better, who's in 5th. From the back end, Garden of Grace and Gresham's Law is the trailer. Princess Wadadli is in front. Now clears off by a length and a half. 23 seconds flat for that opening quarter mile. Less than 4 furlongs to go as they now work into that far turn. The leader is Princess Wadadli. Here comes 3-9's fine, is trying to challenge this pace setter now. As at the rail comes Red Boots, and switching out to the outside is the gray. Sassetti was on the rail, is now 3 wide and chasing. Princess Wadadli still doing it nice enough, is approaching a quarter mile left to go. They're scrubbed along in behind. 47.64 for the half-mile time, and the first-time starter is trying to run away from this field. Princess Wadadli is still up by a length and a half, call it 2. Princess Wadadli is approaching a final furlong. Still running on is Sassetti from the back of the pack. Also there comes Lady Delilah. Princess Wadadli has a 16th left to go and is now 4 in front. Flavian Pratt. Nice debut here for Princess Wadadli. She'll win it. Up for second came Lady Delilah, then Sassetti and Garden of Grace in 1 minute 20.69 seconds.
Princess Wadadli first time out, and she impresses here at first asking.
I think when she made the lead here, you had to feel pretty confident, especially when you take the 8 out of her game and she outruns to the front. And like we said, she wins. She'll probably win fairly comfortably. Greg's telling me it was 2.5.
You said 3 lengths.
I say it's 3 1/4.
Wildly off here. This was at best 2 3/4.
I say 3 1/4.
That's a good call by you. Princess Wadadli.
My only good call in 3 days, I think.
Rob Falcone Jr. and the man right in the mix for going back-to-back for an Eclipse Award as outstanding jockey, Flavien Prat. Amazing what the year came down to, and you just told me off air. Less than, I believe, $1,600 in the end separated Arad Ortiz Jr. and Pratt in terms of earnings, both eclipsing $40 million.
And it came down to about a half a head, because if Flavien had finished third with his last mount of the year, he would have beaten Irad, and he finished fourth, beating about a half a head. And
incredible.
Irad did ride 400 more horses, but both of those guys had Eclipse Award winning years, regardless of who wins.
2-1 on Princess Wadadli, a 28-1 long shot underneath to help your exacta. 7-6-1-2 finish. Prices from race 6 when we return. We'll move on to the 7th at 1 mile and 1/8 right after this. Back on our Sunday coverage on Fox Sports 1. It's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. First-time starter attracting the services of one of the best in the game. Flavien Prat wins easily here at first asking for Rob Falcone Jr.
Yeah, Rob had this one ready to go for sure. I think Rob might be in California. I know that Gracefully, the sprinter, she's entered, I believe, Thursday at Santa Anita. Hopefully they'll be able to race. It's been so hard for them with the weather, but yeah, this one ready to go, and she absolutely dominated these horses. The margin, it feels like whatever the margin was at the end, she won more easily than that, right?
Yeah.
This race was pretty much just over.
So 2-1, first time out. And worth the wait for this 4-year-old filly, finally making that debut. And again, a 28-1 shot underneath, we both said was way too big a price.
Well, I don't know why that
her.
horse was 30-1. I mean, she had figures that put her in the hunt, except for her last race.
Yeah. Race 7, 2 turns, mile and 1/8, allowance optional claiming field, fillies and mares. 4 and up in this spot, including 2 for trainer Todd Pletcher. Farda and Noticeable, they'll be right next door to each other in the starting 8.
And almost $3 million for these 2 horses as yearlings, 2.3 for the 1 and $650 for the 2.
Here's the payouts from race 6. Princess Wadadli, $6.22 for the win.
Big place and show prices, right? For a horse that paid $6. Almost the exact same price for the place as win. An all or nothing type horse, right?
So the Pletcher runners, the 1, the 2, Noticeable. No early money here. That's
yeah,
gonna
I
come
think
down.
that's like a phony first flash because obviously she's going to be one of the choices in here. And there you go, 5-2,
And
5-1.
Purloin, we're both interested in. Missed by a neck in a similar spot last start, and that was at 1 mile and an 1/8.
Thought she did all the running in that race. The other 2 horses that were forward, one of them was a heavy favorite, finished 5th. The other one 4th. She really did the running in there, and I'm with you. I thought she was the one to beat.
More on this field when we come back from a timeout. We're approaching the 19-minute mark to post. One of the best to ever do it. The Hall of Famer, he'll have 2 chances to win race 7 with Farda and Noticeable for Pletcher.
The lead belongs to Epic Ride. He is showing them a clean pair of heels.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You bet with NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NYRA Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions. And hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NYRA Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NYRA Bets.
And it's lights out, locked, pouring it on, running aggressively through the stretch to win by 7 easy lengths.
Here is Locked. Locked racing by on the outside for the lead. Locked, the wine steward, it is Locked.
Here comes Locked after Mulligan. Locked catching with every single stride, and Locked will win the Cigar Mile.
It's all about Locked, dominating the Big Cup, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
This has been a barn that we've been working very closely together from the beginning. When I first started, just had 7 horses. I took in, Sandra Washington. She's also been working with me since she was 18 years old. Incredible horsewoman. When the barn grew, we had some more room, and we brought in my brother, Daniel, who has turned into a great assistant trainer. There's no taking it easy on him. We got to work together, and he makes me better, and I make him better.
This is a very family dynamic barn. John always tells me that this isn't John Ortiz Racing Stables, this is Ortiz Racing Stables, and I look after these horses and the business as if it was my own because it's still my last name on the sign as well.
We got my sister who comes in and does all the videos. Man, Barber Road, he's definitely what you call the Jedi Master. He's the one that's he's been through it all. He's gone through all the rankings as a maiden claimant all the way to the Derby.
Tawny Porton Barber Road, final 16th of the Derby.
He is definitely the class of the barn. He's the teacher, he's the coach now, and he's getting used to his new job.
And now that he's a pony, nothing really's changed. He knows that his time's over, and he loves being a pony.
It's very important to give a racehorse a second chance at a career. I call it a second chance at life, because not every horse can be like Barber Road, and whether they turn into stallions or we geld them and become barn ponies. Some horses are not talented enough. I've seen all these horses just thrive, and they turn the corner, they look happier. And I think that shows when you retire a good racehorse, give him a chance of a second life. When I leave the barn, usually the takeaway I get, the horses are happy, just a satisfaction. It's just a second home. And then to leave here feeling good about the experiences that we have, the good and the bads, it's life, it's second life here.
John Ortiz, really good trainer. It's a family operation, and still seeing the class of the stable. Barber Road playing a pivotal role.
He's still kind of ornery. He's still got that fight in him, but he's been a crucial addition. They call him the third brother of the Ortizes there, of the two brothers. So he's part of the family.
And Ortiz, who has a first-time starter in this upcoming 6th race, who you like a little bit. Like, this is going to be fun. These Arkansas-bred 3-year-old fillies of the maiden claiming variety. 8 first-time starters to kick off the Class 6.
Do some digging, and certainly the paddock tells you a lot about these fillies. And I like what I'm seeing in the mornings as well from this Ortiz firster by Motown, and kind of have those kind of compact sprinters. And I find that's what I'm seeing in the flesh as well.
That's coming up, the Class 6 here at Oaklawn Park. We'll meet the field next, but first right back to New York, getting ready for the Allowance Feature Race 7, where horses have arrived in the paddock. Greg.
Yes, indeed. 2 from Pletcher, as we talked about. Favorite right now is one of those Pletcher runners, and there she is, Metfarda, coming off a win at a mile, now stretches out to a mile and an eighth.
I would say with that purchase price, you'd think she'd always take a lot of money, but she's actually been a reasonable price in a couple of her races, and her last race was a nice effort, and she should be forward. I do think, though, the 2 noticeable could be more speed in here and make things a little tougher for her up front. We'll see. I'm not sold on this horse. She got it done the last time, and it was a good enough effort. I just, like you, kind of prefer the 5, but she's a major player.
And back to what you mentioned, that purchase price. Yeah, this filly right here. $2.3 million she was purchased for at the Keeneland September yearling sale back in 2023. So automatically you bring that kind of price. Big things are expected, and just to this point, 3 races in, we've not gotten that.
It's a tough read in the last race, right? Because the 3rd horse came back and really ran lousy in her next start, but the 4th horse came back and improved dramatically. So there's some mixed messages. It was a perfect trip win for her, but you have to kind of like the way she did it. On the other hand, it was really no faster from a speed figure standpoint than her debut. So you're talking about a horse that took a while to get to the races, and she hasn't really shown a lot of improvement. We'll see. I'm not going to be surprised if she wins. I don't want to pick her as the favorite, but I did pick her second.
And with her pedigree, you would think she's going a mile and an eighth, the furthest she'll have gone today. You would think longer, better for her.
Yeah, I mean, she's got stamina on the dam side, a Tappet dam, and that's a very, very good second dam family. The dam's family going back generations is very strong.
Meanwhile, Purloin, Linda Rice Barn, tried a mile and an eighth last time out here in New York, had the lead in the stretch, and just got caught late. She missed by a neck.
I thought she ran really well. It's probably the best race she ever ran. And what I like about it is that she was forward, and the horses that finished first, I should say, that beat her, came from behind and got it done. And I thought that she ran the best of the forwardly placed horses in the race. And so to me, she kind of outran the dynamics a little bit of the race. It was a solid effort, her best effort, and she just seems to be improving for Linda Rice.
That was her down on the inside, pink cap, just getting beat. And just from how fast she ran that race, it was at a mile and an eighth. If she's able to reproduce that race, she becomes very tough to beat, doesn't she?
I think she does. It's a question of whether or not you think the 1 or 2 can improve, right? The 2 had a fast maiden win, but down at Gulfstream, she was disappointing, but she was also awfully tough in the Cumley last time.
Let's go down to Maggie.
We'll start with your favorite in here, number 1, Metfarda, as she is looking to continue her winning ways here in start number 4, stretching out in distance. And this is something that her Hall of Fame trainer, Todd Pletcher, is so adept at doing. And she looks as though she should handle it. Yes, she is your kind of typical into mischief in the way that she appears in her markings and her coloring, but she's got a lot of length to her frame. And I do think that she'll benefit from getting more ground to work with. And I think you could also go back and kind of make some excuses for those non-winning efforts in her first 2 starts. So we'll see if she can, kind of progress from here. And overall, she looks fantastic in the paddock. But as Ray Handel and I were just joking, for $2.3 million, she better. As we'll take a look here at Ray's horse. That's number 6 next on stage, who lost all chance at the start last time out when she projected to be one of the pace types in that race, and she was stretching out from a turf sprint to 9 furlongs, but she charged the gate, reared up, and Flavien Prat just, dealing with the hand he was dealt, trying to get over, and then though he moved outside, and I understand not trying to stop her momentum, but she was wide for pretty much the latter half of that race and still continued on. Curlin's Girl, much the best she would return with a next time out victory with an 81 buyer. I think, as I was just discussing with Ray, that she should be more forward in here than that last race would suggest. So next on stage, I've always had an admiration for her because she's not the biggest or most robust filly, but she tries hard. And I do think her early pace could be her biggest weapon in here, Greg.
All right, thank you, Maggie. 10 minutes to post parade coming up. Favorite remains Metfarda on the rail for Todd Pletcher as we head back to Oaklawn.
Yeah, and an eye-crossing start to the Class 6. These Arkansas-bred 3-year-old fillies. You're looking at Sisters in Town. You just saw the feature on trainer John Ortiz. You're going with her, Megan, though she is a little cold on the board at 10-1.
Yeah, a little reluctant, but also this is just such a wide open group. I thought, why not? I was kind of between the 10 and the 1 here as far as some of these first-time starters. And then number 10, under her jockey she's got some leg to her. She broke off from the pony and got a pretty upbeat warm-up, and she looked like the type that might have needed that. She was pretty sharp when she came in, and I think that it will be to her benefit there. And she's still kind of growing into herself to me and figuring things out, but I liked the way she's been prepared. She's had a swift move here on December the 28th, that 48-3 work. The Ortiz barn looking for their first win here at Oaklawn Park, and they're usually stalwarts here, which I thought was kind of interesting. Just 11 starters, though, and a lot of these trainers will kind of perhaps save for the classic meet in that time period, but I didn't mind her at all. Excuse me. From a physical perspective, the dam was, 2 for 11 sprinting, so she makes a little bit of sense in here.
Johnny Ortiz saddled the fantasy winner last season, Quiet Side. Rags Racing Stables debuting homebred Sisters in Town. Then Randy Patterson's debuting filly, Boss of the Block, first-time starter. She's 7-2.
A solid gate work back on December the 17th. She worked in company. She had an edge on the mate and really asked and responded midway through the work. She's half to a stakes place mare who was 6 for 28 lifetime. Has a little bit, Arkansas-bred stakes placed mare, and she's got some pedigree to her. I thought she was fit. She was well prepared by Randy Morris, and I think that she could spice things up. And she's one that, again, I think she might move forward a little bit more distance, but this is debut and a sharpening for her to see what's as a first-time starter.
Live on the board, if you prefer one with some experience, so this is Key. Red River Storm draws in. 2 races under her belt. She has speed, and she has Christian Torres in the saddle.
I'm going to let her beat me today. She does have speed. 8-5 is just hard to take, and especially when there's just so many unknowns with first-time starters. But, hey, she looks fantastic in the paddock. She came on sharp as far as the way she behaved, not necessarily bubbling over, carried herself well. But, I mean, she's been well beaten. Her debut was a bit better than her last race, but she was still pretty empty down in Louisiana. But, again, key experience edge on a group of firsters is a huge, as the tote board is reflecting. But I wasn't completely sold on her and decided to seek elsewhere.
And while you were in the paddock and while the horses were out in front of us here trackside, you started to gravitate towards Crazy Caroline a little bit, who's ready for her debut, number 1, breaking from the rail with a full field to her outside.
She caught my eye physically. She's a bit flashier. She's athletic, and she is one that does, as you mentioned, have to contend with the inside draw on debut, but she's got a steady tab of works down at the beach at Delta Downs, and then came here to Oaklawn Park, and she's been steady on the tab since October, September time, so she's been well prepared, and I think that she's certainly one of the more seasoned as far as her conditioning in the morning of this group, and it looked the part in terms of her physically.
Your top selection, Sisters in Town, number 10, now 5-1, right to her outside. Another debuting filly, Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Luis Saez takes the call. What do we know about her?
Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Another first-time starter. I just wasn't enamored by her physically. Another daughter of Motown, and the dam was a winner on the synth. But I wanted to see her in person, and Luis Saez is obviously big when you're able to attract him, but didn't impress me in the morning and didn't completely sell me physically.
8-5, Red River Storm, class drop. She's quick. That's been the easy part for her. Finishing has been the issue, but against these fillies, maybe she's found a group she can handle. These Arkansas-bred 3-year-old fillies about to sprint 6 furlongs and kick off the Class 6 Oaklawn's Pick 6. Matt Dinnerman standing by.
Sisters in Town, Menu. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine coming up. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine going in. Signed, sealed, and delivered. And to the outside post. Redriver's Storm. Waiting for Redriver's Storm to come up. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Has got it. Menu going into the gate. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine and Red River Storm going in. We're ready to go. And Lyra. Good beginning, and well, never mind there. We had one lose the rider. She's our Daffodil, unseated the jockey, Ronnie Huckabee, who's up on his feet. The horse is running loose. They are down the backstretch run here. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine has a share of the lead in the early stages here with Sisters in Town, who's there on the outside. A 3-deep Redriver's Storm is right there. Then the loose horse moving through. Menu is claiming the 4th position right off the leading trio as they go into the 4-turn run. Gap of 2 to Jack's Gal as they corner into that turn. There's a gap of 4. Signed, sealed, and delivered, set to long, joined by Boss of the Block as they round the 4th turn here. A gap of another 4 to Batisto, 3rd last. Lady Strategy, 2nd to last, and Crazy Caroline is at the back, rounding the turn. Red River Storm going on with it now and looks to be tough to beat. Red River Storm easily passing a weakening Sisters in Town as they come off the turn in the 3rd position. Boss of the Block is making up a ton of ground, and she just ran right by Red River Storm, who had absolutely no response. Boss of the Block, confidently ridden by Jaime Torres, coming to the 16th pole in front. Now Sisters in Town is trying to come back on the inside. Boss of the Block, and also coming late, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. It's a driving finish. Sisters in Town won it. That was a wild stretch drive. They just kept mixing and matching there. Sisters in Town re-rallied to win it. Signed, Sealed, and Delivered couldn't get there. Boss of the Block made that early move and flattened out. She had the race won, but could not get it done.
Wild 6 race, eventful 6 race. Sisters in Town emerges victorious 2-1 at post time. She's our Daffodil, who stumbled and unseated apprentice Ronnie Huckabee, who was right back on his feet. She was loose and turned this race upside down.
Completely, and then she just decided to run the race anyway. She was inside of horses. That could really be a dangerous situation when there's nothing that the jockeys can do, and a loose horse kind of was there in front of those horses and really mixed things up. But as far as it was a very tough stretch run, we see the number 10. What a performance for a first-time starter to kind of deal with those dynamics of this race. She was trying to find that seam on the inside. I didn't think she was going to, and finally able to draw clear. But wow, this was I would definitely look to bet back the runner-up, but these two up front, well meant on debut there for the Ortiz barn, who notches the first win of the meet with this Arkansas bred.
Horses that have run several times won't come through a hole like that. And in her debut, showing the bravery, professionalism, operating in tight quarters, Sisters in Town, 10-11, 4-14 here at Oaklawn, as we send you back to New York, Greg, for the 7th 2 minutes out in a post parade.
And here's Matt Farda for Don Pletcher. $2.3 million filly, did not debut until August of this summer.
Co-favorite at 2-1 right now, and we'll see if she can continue to move forward at some point.
Stablemate, noticeable, blinkers on.
I think her 6-1 odds are very acceptable in this race. She had no chance in her return race.
Yankee Doodle, big price. She's 4 for 8, though.
Yeah, best thing she has going for her is Linda Rice. She needs to improve.
All those wins came at Finger Lake, softer circuit. Bobby Jean, contender.
Did run well in an off-the-turf race, though she did finish behind next on stage.
Here's the co-favorite for Linda Rice, Purloin.
Yeah, we both like her. We talked about it before.
6-1 next on stage for Ray Handel.
I mean, listen, she showed that she could be effective closing a bit last time. She's certainly a player in here.
Anthony Dutro-Barn, she's fascinating.
She's my long shot. I don't think she's good enough in here, but I think she has more ability than her races suggest. She had some trouble last time.
And, well, at least coming off a win, I'm buzzy last start for Charlie Baker.
Charlie Baker has really turned things around. His barn has been firing on all cylinders, both here in Finger Lakes. Problem with her is that she's not really a 1 1/8 horse. She's mostly a closing sprinter.
So back to that 1-2 punch for the Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher. We talked about Metfardo. What about next door, Noticeable, who broke her maiden, second career start at Gulfstream, and then Pletcher put her into the Grade 3 Cumley.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hold her last race against her. And, you know, her connections do like to be aggressive and run some tough spot stake races. She didn't run well. My problem is I'm not sold on how good her maiden win was down at Gulfstream. But from a buyer speed figure standpoint, she belongs. I'm just not convinced that she does.
With more on Noticeable, let's go to Maggie.
I'm kind of on the same page with you there, Andy. When it comes to Noticeable, now 2 back, she did break her maiden while facing males. So maybe a slight feather in her cap. But last time watching that comeback race in the Cumley, you know, she tried to get to the front from the inside. She couldn't quite get there. And then it was like she was kind of running and stops and starts. She just looked unsettled the whole way around there. And then at the quarter pole, she just packed it in. It was game over. So Todd Pletcher noting in the Daily Racing Form article with Dave Grenning that she just seems to lack a bit of focus, so therefore the blinkers going on today, not a significant pair at all. Short cup cheater blinker. You know, despite the pedigree, her being a Curlin out of a Street Sense mare, which does scream more distance the better, doesn't really look that way. So I really wonder if 9 Furlongs is going to ultimately be her gig. As we'll move on to, yes, She's Fascinating is also my long shot play. I've been chasing her a little bit, but now she's third off of a layoff for Tony Dutro. The last 2 times she's been a nervous wreck in the paddock. Today, finally settled. Also, finally looking fit. Also, I like the 9 Furlongs for her. She's such a big filly with a lot of scope to her frame. I think today we're going to see her run her best. Last time she was eliminated at the start too. Greg?
All right, here we go, loading up. Thank you, Maggie. There's Noticeable. 9-2. She's floated up to with Pratt for Pletcher.
Yeah, you don't see Pratt at that price too often. It's probably not a particularly good sign. I prefer the 5 like you do in this race, but I don't have a strong opinion. I'm more curious to see, can the 1 step forward at some point?
Public believes that's the case. She's the 8-5 favorite. Chris Griffin, the call.
All set. And they're off. Noticeable. Broke sharply, and in between horses, there's Bobby Jean. Yankee Doodle trying to hold that position. Gets tight there between those top 3. Purloin is going to settle off of them as they speed towards that turn now. Noticeable towards the inside is now kicked on, is up by a length and a half, and Yankee Doodle right there in second. Here comes Next on Stage, ready to challenge from third, now takes the second position. Metfarda is tightly at the rail in fourth. Purloin out wider, rallying on 3 wide. The far outside, She's Fascinating. Towards the back end, now Bobby Jean, and I'm Buzzy is the trailer. They work to the backstretch, 24.16 for the opening quarter mile. Noticeable has the lead. Noticeable is in command, is up by a length and a half with Next on Stage, still in second. Purloin, center of the racetrack in third. Metfarda starts to make up some ground at the rail, is now taking that third spot, wants to move in closer. Noticeable just bowling right along, 48.70 for a half-mile time. They haven't caught Noticeable. Next on Stage is second. Metfarda is in third. Purloin center of the racetrack in fourth. It's been a wide run here. She's Fascinating from fifth. Then Bobby Jean, I'm Buzzy, starts to get rolling from the back end, and Yankee Doodle. Noticeable now coming back to the field a little bit as Metfarda switches to the outside 2 path. Next on Stage 3 wide. Purloin has been wide throughout. She's Fascinating. I'm Buzzy continues to make the sustained rally. In behind horses is now taken 5th. They're approaching the top of the stretch, and Noticeable now has plenty of company. Here comes Metfarda, here comes Purloin, and in an instant, Purloin just thrust towards the front, and Purloin sprints away. I'm Buzzy is in the clear, is in full pursuit. It is still Purloin approaching a final furlong, switches leads, and here comes I'm Buzzy still rolling down the center of the racetrack. Metfarda is in third, Yankee Doodle from the back. Purloin has a 16th left to get. I'm Buzzy is closing, but Purloin, Jose Lascano, they get the victory. I'm Buzzy second, Metfarda, and Yankee Doodle in 1 minute 53 and 4.
Purloin, convincing victory. Nice job, Jose Lezcano, wide early and cruised her into contention to get better racing room. She's very good today.
She was an hour and a half the best in this race. First of all, she never saved an inch of ground. 3 wide in the first turn, 4 wide in the second turn. You could also argue the way the race played out, she moved a little soon. I'm not knocking Jose. This race was just falling apart in the stretch, and I'm buzzy. I was wrong. She could actually put in her clothes going along, and Charlie Baker's horses are really running well because she did well to be second. But on the other hand, a lot of horses fell back in here. And as far as Metfarda, I almost wonder at this point if they're just going to breed her, you know, because she's just not improving at all. This was a very disappointing effort for Metfarda. When you compare the trip that she had, the trip the winner had, I mean, she saved ground every step of the way, basically, and just had absolutely nothing.
And this was the race where you thought going longer with that pedigree might be.
Today's the day she's supposed to show up, right, and show something, and she was incredibly disappointing. Listen, just because they have a good pedigree and they cost a lot of money doesn't mean they can run, and sometimes they have very little pedigree and cost nothing, and they can really run.
Can't buy championships, can't buy champions.
That's right, unless you're the Dodgers.
Purloin, they've been pretty good at it. 5-2, your winner here in race 7. Dazzling, absolutely. We'll look back at the Oaks and Derby preps from Saturday in New York. Dazzling Dame, sensational to win again. Back with you on our Sunday coverage on Fox Sports 1. It's brought to you in part by Gainesway Power, Passion, Performance. Race 7 in the books here in New York at the Big A. Purloin turns it on. What a performance for Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano. Yeah, as you mentioned, pretty much wide throughout, did not matter.
I mean, she's already well out for her $50,000 claim, and while Linda makes a lot of claims at Churchill, and some are going to pan out and some aren't, this looks like a very, very good claim. This horse, she's got no stamina issues. She's got the speed to put herself in position, but she doesn't need the lead. I got to think Linda's looking at this race and thinking, you know, going to get tougher, the competition going down the road, but you're going to try her against some tougher horses. She'll have to get a little faster, but this was a very good effort, Greg.
It was, coming off the best performance of her career last start as well. Really going in the right direction. Start prior to that, too, and a win. Probably to that point had been the best race of her career. Of course, Linda Rice setting a new record for the most wins, stands alone, breaking her own record. She shared with David Jacobson this past year, most wins ever on the NYRA circuit in a single season.
And you talk to any trainer that, you know, has a year like that, and obviously you're very happy with those kind of results. You have to be, but it's always the same thing. How am I going to reproduce it next year, right? Because the more successful you are, the easier it is to fail because you can't live up to the very high standard you've set for yourself. And, you know, people say a lot of things that I don't agree with about Linda. And one thing about Linda, she reads a condition book as well as anybody. And, you know, I give her a hard time sometimes and quite often about scratching. But she puts her horses in spots where they think she belongs. And I think if you look at Linda, when she is aggressive with a horse and you think, why is this horse in here? It looks like he or she's over their head. That seems to be when they run the best. So she knows when her horses are doing well.
$7.10 for Purloin in the victory. And as you mentioned, Charlie Baker, even though didn't win here, his horses continue to run well and outrun their odds. 9-1 on the runner-up. Yeah. And Medfarda completes the trifecta. Race 8 to close out the card here in New York. $12,000 bottom-level maiden claiming race. 1-turn mile, and huge scratch here with Beck's Dreamer coming out has opened things up a little bit.
I actually talked to Linda about that scratch, and she was just concerned about, you know, a situation where the horse had been given some stitches and thought maybe she might need some more time. It was not something she wanted to come out because she knew the horse was a heavy favorite. Just a difficult situation, all things considered, in today's racing world. With her out of the race, though, or him out of the race, it certainly makes it a much more wide-open race, and the board reflects that.
Yeah, we'll have more on the 8th and finale coming up shortly. Let's look back at the Busanda from yesterday. Dazzling Dame, 11.5 length domination, gate to wire in here, making up for the runner-up finish earlier in the card in the Jerome for Brittany Russell with Balboa.
And I think if you weren't paying attention to yesterday's races and you just saw this performance, you'd say, oh, it was probably a biased track, and, you know, she got loose in the lead, and it's an exaggerated performance. If you watched yesterday's races, that was not the case at all. In fact, there were races that made you think speed was no good. I think it was a fair racetrack, and quality and dynamics played a big role. She set an honest pace. I wasn't blistering fast, but it was not dawdling. The horse that tried to chase her finished way back in third, and she was just rolling along in here. 91 Beyer. I'm not sure, but I think that might be as good a Beyer speed figure as we've seen from a filly in this crop so far, going longer. And I can understand why at this race leaves her connections with some high hopes for her heading towards the big races both in Kentucky and in Saratoga this summer.
Yeah, eyeing the Grade 3 Gazelle or potentially the Virginia Oaks. And we'll talk about the Jerome at some point, too, for the boys on the road to the Kentucky Derby. This was 2/3 of a second faster than the boys ran in the Jerome.
It was, and it was also faster than the subsequent race, which were older horses going a mile. There are quality runners that run mid to high 80 Beyers, so there's no disputing that this was a very fast race and an extremely impressive performance, and nobody should think that this was one where the track played a role in it. She just ran super.
3 stakes wins, Maggie, at 3 different racetracks now for Dazzling Dame.
And yesterday, arguably the most impressive of those 3 stakes victories, as she just waved bye-bye to the rest of the field. And talking with her trainer, Brittany Russell, you know, there was slight concern with the cutback in configuration yesterday with the 1-turn mile. Would she settle? Would she be, you know, adaptable? And she was so pleased with what she saw. Now, she is a big, lanky type of filly, where Brittany was saying that she's grown a lot, considering they bought her as a 2-year-old for only $45,000 at the OBS March sale, and continuing to progress, continuing to get better in her training. And Brittany also stating that longer ultimately going to be better for her. So as you mentioned, Greg, the next targets, either a 1.125 in the Gazelle or a 1.16 in the Virginia Oaks, will be well within her wheelhouse, at least from what she shows physically.
20 points to get into that starting gate for this year's Kentucky Oaks first Friday in May, and it looks like she is a true contender.
I agree. You know, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it's the winter at Aqueduct. We've had plenty of horses run here in the winter that have gone on to do big things in big races. And, you know, I laugh about Maggie saying going longer is that every trainer thinks their horses want to go longer, though it's hard to argue with her pedigree and the way she ran, the way she looks, she'll go longer. But I'll tell you something, that was a real breakout performance in a division where we're looking for breakout performances, because what we've seen so far from those horses is a lot of kind of mediocrity at the highest level. So she's, to me, that's the most impressive performance we've seen in a bigger race.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the boys who got their turn earlier in the card when we come back from a timeout. That was the Jerome. My World is now reeled off 3 consecutive victories in a row. Brad Cox, Jamie Rodriguez team up. Stay with us.
City of Light, multiple Grade 1 winner, who posted 7 triple-digit buyers, stands to continue the legacy of his sire, Quality Road, with graded stakes winners, Menti, Chop Chop, and Formidable Man. Sire of multiple Grade 1 winner and champion 2-year-old Fierceness.
A powerhouse win.
City of Light, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
This holiday season, give the gift of racing with NYRA Bets gift cards. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your own account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NYRABets.com.
Say hi to our new stallion, Highland Falls. From his winning debut to that spectacular Jockey Club Gold Cup.
It is Highland Falls. He wins another one, this time the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Even his buyer was high. The race his sire made his own by a widening 4 lengths. A host of Grade 1 winners far behind. High and goodbye. Running a 107 when second in an All-Star Whitney. The rise and rise of Highland Falls. High class, on the track and on the page. This is his dam, winning the Acorn and then the Distaff. Aim high. Breed to a well-bred son of Curlin. Highland Falls, new to Darley.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races. Coverage continuing on FS1. Overhead view from the drone as we get ready for the late Pick 5 on this Sunday program. Final day of the holiday meet, Oaklawn Park. Now, yesterday we had the Smarty Jones, not the only stakes race for 3-year-olds. Earlier on, we had the Renaissance for 3-year-old sprinters and a chance to see Obliteration make his Oaklawn debut.
I've always been a fan of Obliteration from the start. His debut there at Churchill Downs, impressive, but he was just much the best of this field. And in terms of the track and how it was kind of playing towards those speed horses, he actually came from further off of it early, and he just drew away. He didn't have, I don't believe he had the best of beginnings either.
A poor start.
And just really his class prevailed. He got a 90 buyer speed figure for the effort, well ahead of anybody. Nobody had a chance to him coming off that effort, off that Breeders' Cup effort on grass. But as Steve Asmussen has mentioned, he's a better dirt horse and does so for the Acrolease, who has been a part of the story of the Asmussen barn ever since the beginning, back in 1996 there with Valid Expectation. So really exciting to see Obliteration hopefully continue to progress through his now 3-year-old campaign.
Joel Rosario checking the rearview mirror several times. Nobody coming. Obliteration, you would think the short-term goal, the Bachelor, the most important race for 3-year-old sprinters. Here at Oaklawn Park, Steve Asmussen has won it 9 times, once with Matoli back in 18. getting way ahead of ourselves? Is this a colt that we could see competing in races like the Woody Stevens or maybe even in Alan Jerkins this summer at Saratoga? Like I said, getting way ahead of ourselves?
Maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves, but I've always thought this horse had a world of talent. We'll see how he continues to handle himself. Now having the opportunity to face older types potentially down the road, we'll see how he faces some of his own division moving forward. But he's got a world of talent, and hopefully he can stay healthy and continue to progress here at Oaklawn Park.
Terrific Oaklawn debut, smashing victory in yesterday's Renaissance for Alliteration. Steve Asmussen has a runner in this upcoming 7th race. $25,000 maiden claimer, 6 furlong sprint. Time for the late pick 5. And a post-parade moments ago, we start with Big Rig Dude back sprinting today. Big price, 53 to 1.
And he looks like it in the paddock, coming off of that last effort in July off the bench. I didn't love what I saw from this long shot.
Number 2, Be Real, Mike Rapoli's class dropper.
Class dropper for Classy Connections. Attains Luis Saez and has been sharp there in the preliminaries, was sharp in the paddock as well.
Trouble ahead, first after the claim, Kevin Martin.
And they're getting back to the 6 furlong distance and didn't mind there at 8 to 1.
Steve Asmussen's Coastal Breeze.
Big, burly, carrying that flesh, just didn't look all the way in terms of his fitness.
Laura Broadway, 20 years since Fernando Hera won that Breeders' Cup Classic with Invasor.
Yeah, second, trying to menace as he did not last time out.
Tall Cotton, Louis Q takes over. The 7 is out. Then Grand Oracle, the house horse, at 6 to 1.
Yes, owned by Oaklawn's very own owner in Louis Sella for Ron Moquette, taking a drop in class out of maiden special tries off the bench.
Secret Legend, Kelsey Haar, Robert Klein seeking the first win of the meet.
Second off that effort that this horse needed last time out, off that bit of a layoff. We'll see how this horse continues to progress.
Gunfire pictured at 10 to 1.
Bigger framed, heavier body, doesn't strike me as a sprinter.
Flat out blessed by 2009 Smarty Jones winner, flat out.
Another huge horse that I think will appreciate some more added ground.
Historic draws in, make the rider Ramon Vasquez.
I think he'll benefit from a sharpening off of the bench.
And Flying Private draws in, idle since April.
Another coming off the bench, but I thought this horse was a bigger one that drops in class off of a maiden special weight try last time out. We'll see if that wakes this horse up off the layoff.
Big field. What else is new? 7th race, start of the late pick 5 Oaklawn Park. Louis Sella's Grand Oracle. 5 to 2 on the morning line, Megan. You like him, and you have to appreciate the price you're getting at the moment, 6 to 1.
And it's interesting to me. I mean, this horse was 5 to 2 on the morning line and is cold on the toe board. You don't typically see that, particularly with these connections that a lot of folks in Arkansas recognize Louis Sella, Ron Moquette, but man, in the flesh, this horse certainly did not look like a maiden 25 claiming type. I mean, coming out of maiden special efforts where Perfect Forest came back while it didn't run very well, was featured in the Pat Day Mile on debut there with that 77 Beyer speed figure at Oaklawn. But I think the cutback is going to also help this horse off the bench, sharpened in distance. He ran his best race to date, cutting back in distance to that 6 furlongs. I think it will suit, and man, he just really wowed me physically. Gorgeous in his coat. He's athletic. He's fit. I'm excited to see him hopefully remain at a little bit of a price there.
You like the winner in the last race, the first-time starter for John Ortiz, around 7 to 1 when we discussed him, 5 to 2 in the end. The favorite here. You saw Be Real in the paddock. This is the big class dropper. Louis Saez riding for Mike Rapoli and Joe Sharp.
Gelding by Curlin out of a Speightstown dam, and you would think more distance the better, and that's what I imagined as well with this horse. Breaks to the inside there with Luis Saez aboard and makes complete sense on paper, taking a drop in class, and these connections are very astute when deciding to make that precipitous drop in class. He looks the part, 8 to 5 on some other class droppers, though not so much, but in terms of his fitness, he's kind of carrying that flesh through his barrel. You can see there. We'll see how he responds.
Get ready to go, I suppose.
It's just interesting there for the number 2, but I kind of a wait and see approach. I'm going to let this favorite beat me in this group.
Taking it all in, standing quietly. Be Real, the favorite, 8 to 5. Gunfire and Ricardo Santana, who just missed facing similar in September at Monmouth, Megan.
And also, as far as Gunfire is concerned, second off of the layoff there for David Jacobson, who does this often. He owns and kind of claims these horses along. He's just a bigger framed horse, stout, has some leg to him, gets the blinkers on for the first time, which potentially maybe we could see more of the early speed he showed way early on and be part of that pace a little bit. But as far as his two-back effort, he was kind of reluctant to load, but he was gaining late. I really liked the way he battled there in the end, in and around this level. But again, he has to face others dropping out of maiden special company in here.
Ricardo Santana aboard as they make their way behind the starting gate. Where should we look for the speed early on? On paper, who figures to provide the heat early on?
Well, I'm hoping, as discussed, the 10 maybe with those blinkers coming on will revert back to some of those early tactics. We shall see, but I think the 14, Flying Private, also has a bit of early foot as well.
Late pick 5 starts here. Race 7, Oaklawn Park. Be Real. 7 to 5 at post time. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Trouble ahead coming up. Coastal Breeze coming forward. Flat Out Blessed. Lower Broadway coming up. Flat Out Blessed goes in. Historic goes forward. Tall Cotton into the outside post. Flying Private to round out the field. Here's Flying Private going in. We're ready to go. And we're off. Grand Oracle a little bit slow to go. Historic going to the lead from Coastal Breeze, who takes the second position. In fact, comes up to challenge Historic on the front end. Be Real aggressively ridden from the inside in the third spot on the fence. Flying Private on the outside, easing off the Speed Brigade. It's pretty contentious out there. Gunfire in the mix. Lower Broadway in that group. In the two-path, down the back stretch they go. Trouble ahead off the speed. He's 4 behind in the Flurry Racing colors. 4 clear of Secret Legend, Grand Oracle. They're side by side. Big Rig Dude, he's third last today. Flat Out Blessed and Tall Cotton at the back of the pack as they round the far turn. They've sorted themselves out on the lead. Gunfire's got a share of it. Historic alongside. These two together. Historic with a head in front coming to the top of the stretch. Gunfire still right there battling with them. And third is Flying Private. 3 deep in the swing off the corner. Then trouble ahead as they come down the lane. Historic is the one to beat. Historic, Flying Private second. Grand Oracle on the outside trying to get there, and trouble ahead. 1 furlong to go. Flying Private has a narrow edge now. Historic is second, and then in third, trouble ahead, 16th to go. Flying Private for the Peter Miller Bard, starting to inch clear. Flying Private to get it. Historic was second, trouble ahead third. Grand Oracle checked in fourth.
The also eligible run 1-2. Flying Private over Historic. Flying Private off the bench, graduates in his 6th career start, 2-1 at post time.
A class dropper off that layoff from April. We haven't seen him, but ran a strong 73 buyer speed figure, getting a nice price there for Peter Miller. And we've mentioned Mark Cassidy, Steve Asmussen having great meets, but Peter Miller has 24% strike rates, 4 for 17 this meet, gets another win here. And wow, I mean, this horse really ran well off that I've mentioned class drop, and that's what, that's the story of this race, was kind of those class droppers finding the right spot.
Miller won the Advent opening day, back-to-back wins in the Advent, and a win here in race number 7, Flying Private, as we send you back to New York. Riders up for the nightcap, Greg.
Yeah, indeed, about to step onto the track here in this 1-turn mile bottom level maiden claiming group. And with the biggest scratch of the card, this 3 coming out, it has made Freedom Maker the 7 now, the one to beat on the board.
I guess they figure if an 0 for 26 can get it done today, why not make an 0 for 13, 8-5?
Wow.
Listen, this horse is able to run the figure. He ran a few races back and some prior races. Absolutely way the horse to beat, but the last couple of races have left a lot to be desired to take at a short price. I picked second. I think you put on top, but 8-5?
Yeah, I was not expecting that short a number. Here's Daytona Moonshine 0 for 14.
Yeah, this horse just appears, even in this group, to be a tad slow.
Carlin Contention next door, 0 for 10.
Jimmy Ryerson, the trainer, had a very good 2025. He's got some promising now 3-year-olds going forward. This one, and the fringes of being competitive.
This one has not finished that well in any of the 4 starts, but intriguing on the drop in class.
Yeah, second off a long layoff as well for a smart barn.
That was the Fort Killybegs kid for John Terranova. Chili cheesesteak, and so start number 2 took money first out.
Took money, maybe being back, so wasn't much going on there. Seems like somewhat of a live field, though, but didn't do much running.
St. Solomon, start number 2 for this one as well. John Ortiz barn.
I like this one as Ray Luz looking for his second win today, and he had a good second at a big price a couple races back.
Freedom Maker, the 8-5 favorite for Fernando Abreu, trainer.
You got hard if you're taking this one at 8-5, but he does have races that make him the one to beat.
Down the line, Luis Rivera Jr. rides at 9-1.
Slower even than some better, decent priced horses.
Lowest level he'll have been in yet. And then Ethereum for Carlos Martin on the outside.
Dropping even more than a lot of these. And we've seen Delilah Rivera, the apprentice, give some nice rides earlier this week. Not impossible.
Let's go back to the one you wound up with, St. Solomon for John Ortiz, the 6. And start number 2, Raylu Gutierrez will be aboard.
John Ortiz has been on quite a juggernaut, especially this year in New York. We saw him win at Oakland a couple races ago as well. And, this one did not run particularly well. And I didn't get bet that strongly, but might have needed the race in there. And probably second time out dropping a bit. Should run better. 5-1, I'm going to have to bet a few dollars.
Let's go to Maggie.
And we'll take a look at a few horses that do come out of that November 30th race, which did feature 2 next time out winners. Dormello coming back, facing winners and earning a 76, and Liberty Rising, of course, would win too with the 65. Taking a look here at Killybegs Kid as he'll stretch out from the 6.5 to the mile. He looks like he should benefit from it, honestly. And considering he's second off of a extended layoff, he looks incredibly fit here, though I'm going to land on another horse coming out of that same race that did finish behind him. But Chili Cheesesteak was making his first start of his career, and he stretches out here. He's a big horse that's really well muscled, has a very strong appearance, but is also very forward. It was awfully sharp out on the racetrack. So he gives the impression that he is going to be forwardly placed here. Obviously, Kendrick Carmouche in the irons too never hurts. With this stretch out and distance, I think he can handle it. However, the other second time starter, number 6, St. Solomon, he does have experience going longer. And he's a big, good looking type of horse. So I see why they put him in that spot first time out. But he just still kind of presents himself as a gormless type. Like their light bulb hasn't really gone on yet. He lacks some intensity. He looks the part physically, but between the ears, we'll see how he strikes today, Greg, for a barn, though, that has done very well here in New York over the fall and now winter.
Having said that, public sticking with Freedom Maker, dropping to the lowest level in start number 14 here that he has ever been in. And you look 3 back, that race would easily, I would think, get it done here. And there's several races where he's run that sort of number. But anytime you have not just the 0-for-13 record, but now a 5-year-old trying to get that first win, it starts to become a bit of a concern.
Yeah, and my bigger problem is the last 2 races have just not been good, particularly his last race. Now, I understand why people are betting him. I don't understand why you would take 7-5 on anybody in this race, to be honest, especially one that's had as many chances coming off lousy wins. I don't have any argument if somebody says he's the horse to beat in this race because he does have the best races of anybody. His last 2 races, particularly his last race, I can't make a big excuse for them.
So we'll see how this closes out coming up. We did mention the 4, some upside, and there's the 4, center of our screen, Killybegs Kid, and just, I guess, the best case you can make with him, because he's never really finished that well in any of his 4 starts, but he came back off a year's layoff, ran a little bit early, and this will be the lowest level he's run at yet.
Yeah.
And he theoretically should be, I mean, he has turf sprint speed, blinkers going on, so he should be quick early.
You would think that Jamie Rodriguez is going to be aggressive with him. And he was chasing Dormello, who set it on his pace last time. For people wondering about his last race, that day, November 30th, was a day we ran just 1 race, and there was a lot of wind, and they canceled after 1 race. But he did. He chased Dormello, came back to win Dormello here just the other day. So it was a live race, and I agree. I think if you're looking around, and I'm never going to default to a horse like the 7 Freedom Maker. Now, I can understand somebody says, I think this one's the one to beat. I don't want to bet anybody to try to beat him. But I'm looking around for others. I bet the 6 to win and boxed 4-6 for a few dollars.
Well, but yeah, both the 5 and 6, at least there is upside potential. Michelle Giangulio trains chili cheesesteak the 5, took money first time out, drops in class. St. Solomon, we talked about how hot John Ortiz has been. You saw him win with
Mo 88 was
sisters in town at Oaklawn earlier.
Mo 88 is a potential star in the making.
Raylu Gutierrez rides for him here on the 6. Favorite, though, Freedom Maker the 7 to close out this card here in New York. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Ethereum. Dalila Rivera, last to load. And in. All set. And they're off. Good speed to the inside from Daytona Moonshine. Is forwardly placed and also in between horses. Here comes Chili Cheesesteak. Chili Cheesesteak now challenges for the front end with towards the inside. Now rallying on here is Killybegs Kid. Out wider. Joining them will be Ethereum. Is now third. Well spread out as they come out of the chute and hook up with the backstretch and Chili Cheesesteak up by 3/4 of a length. Killybegs Kid is alone in second. Moving up on the outside, Ethereum. Then in fourth, Freedom Maker starts to progress with far outside down the line. At the rail, red cap is St. Solomon. The 2 at the back, that's Daytona Moonshine. After breaking sharply is the back end of the field, second to last with Carlin. Contention. They approach a half mile left to go. Chili Cheesesteak is the leader. Ethereum starts to easily cut into the margin, is now only a head back as they approach a half mile left to go. They move into the far turn. Chili Cheesesteak, Ethereum. Here's the run down towards the inside. Starts to move forward as Killybegs Kid. 3 wide, that's Freedom Maker on the move, and down the line is progressing from 5th. In 6th, Carlin Contention starts to get rolling. Daytona Moonshine, and now the trailer, St. Solomon. 49 seconds flat for a half mile time. Losing ground to the inside, Chili Cheesesteak. Ethereum battles on there in the pink cap. Freedom Maker has taken the front end. They reach the top of the stretch, and Manny Franco says go with Freedom Maker, who's trying to extend the margin here. Ethereum not going down without a fight is alone in second. Killybegs Kid down the line. Carlin Contention, Daytona Moonshine. Freedom Maker has a furlong left to get. Carlin Contention is on the grandstand side, closing with every single stride. Freedom Maker needs the line. Carlin Contention's going to push on by from far out of it. Carlin Contention won it. Freedom Maker second, Daytona Moonshine, and down the line in 1 minute 43.51 seconds.
Carlin Contention dropping down in class, reels in this favorite to close out the card at 7-1.
Nice win for Christopher Elliott, who's a finalist for the Eclipse Award for apprentice rider, and deservedly so. And actually a deep group of 3 riders comes roaring down the center of this track. Greg was very proud of himself for picking this late double cold. And as soon as you thought you were home, I said, watch out. Here comes Carlin's Connection.
It's on me.
Okay, rolling by. Daytona Moonshine at 36-1, filling out the try.
Yeah, how about that?
Little all 7-1, all
7-1-8.
all. You crushed. My 6 can't run.
A little leg weary here, despite this one taking a big drop as well. And Carlin Contention runs that one down to win easily here to close things out in New York. Christopher Elliott, Jimmy Ryerson, Camerota Racing. Prices from the finale when we come back. Back with you on our Sunday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Used to be a pretty good Belmont party right around that neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Years past.
Radio City is one of the great places anywhere. You know, I've been going there since I was a little kid, and always a lot of fun to go there and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful venue.
Christopher Elliott, son of Stewart and Smarty Jones fame, won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown back in 2004. Wins here for Jimmy Ryerson.
I'm such a fan of this kid. He's just a very good rider, and watching him as he's progressed here. He's only been riding in New York for about less than a year and a half now, and he just gets better and better, and he does the right thing. He saves ground, but he's just a very solid rider, aggressive, but not always. And getting it done for Jimmy Ryerson, who, you come out of his last year, and somebody can look and say, oh, what do you mean he won 11%? Jimmy Ryerson does not have exactly a barn full of expensive, good-looking horses, and he wins. He's just a guy who wins, and he's got some nice, promising horses, and I was really happy to see him win one of those $500,000 Stallion Series races towards the end of the year. That was cool.
Well, Christopher Elliott, too, it's been fun to see his progression, but when you're on this circuit, too, it helps that you're riding against some of the very best in the sport, like a Pratt, not to mention several over the summer, of course, just the stacked colony you see at Saratoga, and now 2 riders that we see battle the last few Saratogas. We're going to talk about them head-to-head and who deserves the Eclipse Award for this year. Very close between Irad Ortiz Jr.
Shouldn't it be a tie?
And Pratt.
Shouldn't it be a tie? Wouldn't that be
it
perfect?
Almost could
it really
be, right?
should be.
Who will be champion jockey? Will Pratt go back-to-back, or Ortiz steal back the spotlight? Stay with us.
Now 650. $1,650,000. $1,650,000. Anybody else want $650,000? $1,650,000. $1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NYRA Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NYRA Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NYRA Bets.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Good to have you with us on our Sunday coverage. New York's card in the books. Carlin Contention closes things out at 7-1. So put a bow on things here in New York. Plenty, including the feature, more to come out in Hot Springs.
Yeah, we got some Oakland racing left to go. Some Eclipse Award discussions to have as the NYRA card's in the books.
And here it is. That man on the far left of your screen looking to go back-to-back. Flavien Prat, 13 Grade 1 wins. Irad Ortiz Jr., Pratt as well over $40 million in earnings. They both were only $1,600 about separated the two, but slightly. Irad Ortiz Jr., earnings leader, very slightly. Also the wins leader, but he had, as you mentioned, close to 400 more mounts.
Yeah, I honestly, I think either one of these are deserving. I would probably vote for Flavien, but I don't. I think this would be a nice year if people could say what percentage their votes. you know, because it really does feel like a split vote, you know. It just doesn't seem like either rider is undeserving.
Well, Pratt, 13 grade ones, and coming off a career where he won his first ever Eclipse. He did not let up at all. Became the first rider in the history of the sport to win 7 races as well on a card on a NYRA track.
No, he's a remarkably talented rider who adapts to his horses. You know, he's forward in races. He'll use speed when the horses don't seem like the speed, and races devoid of speed. He's obviously a student of the game, and he rides well. And both of these riders, it's unusual to see either one of these riders give a bad ride.
This man might be the most competitive rider in the sport. He rides a bottom-level claimer like he does a Grade 1. And after having dominated and winning all those Eclipse awards, to be unseated, you knew that fire was burning in him again.
Oh, yeah. He's as highly competitive a rider as you'll find in the game, and you've got to be competitive. You know, he wants to win, and these things hear people talking about. They say, oh, you know, IRAD wasn't trying. That's nonsense. That guy is always trying. Those numbers are remarkable. They really are.
So the edge in Grade 1s and graded stakes and earnings per start to Pratt, but the edge in wins with a lot more mounts goes to Ortiz, and then that slight edge in earnings. But both these riders to eclipse 40 million. Just incredible.
There's a problem with that. He couldn't have had only 41 more wins if he rode 400 more mounts and he won at 27%.
He didn't win at 27%. I believe the percentage
Yes,
is
that
wrong,
percentages are wrong. There's no way. Obviously,
Yeah.
Flavien had a better percentage if he had 4 less mounts, and he won 40 less races.
Well, with their thoughts on what should happen in a few Thursdays from now, let's send it out to Hot Springs.
How do you separate them? Like, how do you separate these two? And just mind-blowing, considering, as they were just mentioning, in the end, is $1,600 in earnings, both over $40 million in the end.
Andy mentioned it. It was a head bob, or a difference between finishing 3rd or 4th at the end of the year, as far as how close that it came. And it was really just a treat for me to be up close in New York this year, seeing the likes of Flavien Prat ride. Of course, the sword dancer there aboard El Cordobés was one of the memorable rides that he gave through the summer, that I just thought he just timed it perfectly there in that race. And I'm with Andy. If I had the choice, if I was voting on those two, I would probably go with Flavien. But it's such two incredible riders, 2 incredible competitors, and I have a feeling that those gaudy numbers, that's not the last time we're going to see them both duking it out at the top.
That's the thing. Pratt with those 13 Grade 1 victories, it's not like they're on opposite sides of the country, and something that we look forward to so much every summer at Saratoga is in those marquee events, watching those two go at it day in and day out.
And IRAD had transferred his tack to Kentucky, which to me was a huge move. He really was able to accumulate business there and had a fantastic, especially in a robust jockey colony there in Churchill. And he really rode well in Kentucky there with the likes of his brother, Jose Ortiz there. But both of them, the consummate pros that they are, it'll be eager to see who lands that Eclipse award in the end. But it's a toss for me. It's a coin toss.
We will find out soon enough. It's like an MVP for jockeys who will wind up the Eclipse Award-winning rider of 2025. In the meantime, we have more live racing here at Oaklawn Park, the 8th and start of the late pick 4. We'll take a look at the field of this $25,000, check that $35,000 claiming event. Restriction, fillies and mares who have not won a race since October 4th of 2025. Let's meet the field in stellar. Lily, idle since May. Joel Rosario takes over.
At a 6-year-old mare, it often takes them a bit of time to get back in form, but she looked great. She was athletic, and she's physically well put together.
Mercy Warren, claim from Joe Sharp by Lon Wiggins.
First off the claim there, and I want to see this horse get a race first off the claim before putting my money on it.
St. Albans raid typically involved early.
Yeah, and a Sharp there in the post parade, Sharp in the paddock for the Shire Barn, and I liked what I saw from this horse. Athletic and fit off the bench.
Beau Draw, 8-year-old mare, been busy, 23 races last 2 years.
Wow, a big campaign, but 1 for 11 at Oaklawn. Find that more ground might likely better.
Ain't No Shaking Kid, the Iowa bred.
Hasn't done a lot of running as of late.
At Estrudis, 12-1 currently.
And has some familiarity in New York with this horse tacked outside for the Cantor Mossy Barn.
Lover Girl, the Minnesota bred with Ricardo Santana.
On some toes. I'm interested to see if Ricardo sends this horse to a little bit more aggressively.
Lady Dreamer, usually in the mix early.
Right. I think that this horse will be a part of it there for the Lonnie Briley barn, off a bit of time away.
Factor that, last 9 races on grass.
And gets to the dirt. Didn't love what I saw from this horse.
Windy Bay, Francisco Arrieta takes over.
Yeah, now back here, and I didn't mind the 2-back race at all.
Aloha Baby, number 11, representing Outside Speed.
They're off of the bench as well, but I think this horse would probably benefit from a start.
And Tilted Lady, look at that, even money favorite, claim from Mike Maker by Randy Morse.
To me in this group, even money's a little hard to swallow in general, but in for $35,000 off of an impressive victory last time out, but technically takes the uptick in class here.
Even money. Tilted Lady. Louis Saez aboard, and this was her most recent, mid-November. Churchill Downs, you'll see. It was on a muddy track, and Tilted Lady Megan strikes the front and simply runs away and hides.
I mean, got to the front end and just cruised on from there, and I think we'll be a part of the pace. And here as well, there's not a tremendous amount signed on, so could very well get a similar type of trip. But she's kind of a wet track sort. You go all the way back to here at Oaklawn Park back in 2024. She took advantage of a wet track that day at 5-1, so definitely likes the off-going. She gets back to a fast track, second off of the bench, first off the claim. She looked great in the paddock. She gets Louis Saez aboard, who's about as forward a rider that you'll want when it comes to getting into that position going forward from the outside post. I liked what I saw from her. It was between the 12 and the far inside runner from the Moquette barn for me.
Stellar Lily, what'd you observe from her, and why do you give her a shot?
She just looked great there for Ron, who said that, she's been training well. And as I mentioned in the post parade, it's sometimes hard to bring these older mares back off the bench. It just takes them a little bit more time to get into themselves. But now, cutting back to the 6 furlongs, Ron often does this just as a sharpening for them, as she really didn't do all that much running. And she's just been up against tougher. She gets a pretty precipitous drop in class out of some allowance optional claiming groups here at Oaklawn, where she is 2 for 14, has taken to this surface. I think Joelle hopes to have this horse more involved from that inside post, sending for some speed there.
Joelle Rosario with Steve Asmussen yesterday. A couple of stakes wins here on the undercard of the Smarty Jones. Teaming up with Ron Moquette, Stellar Lily at 9-2. Would be third choice. Number 3, St. Albans Raid. Another heat she likes to be up close early.
Yeah, and takes an uptick in class as well from that starter group last time out at Churchill, where she just didn't fare whatsoever. She was kind of bumped and tracked on the inside that day, but 2-back, very impressive at a decent price, where she nearly wired that field amidst $20,000 company. I don't think she's going to get the lead here, and she's one that definitely likes it, but if you go all the way back to her maiden 10 score there, she didn't. She was able to show a little bit of rateability. So will she be able to do that again in this group? I think it's possible. She's kind of smaller made, but man, is she athletic, and she is fit off that time away from October.
That's St. Albans Raid, but 4-5 now. Tilted Lady, Louis Saez, is that a pedal to the metal for him right from the start?
I would assume so. This horse just has a bit of some natural speed. I would use it. Again, scratch that turf effort, the turf experiment, I should say, that didn't work out. And I really hope that they're a bit more aggressively placed with her on the drop in class.
7-time winner. 2 of those right here at Oaklawn Park. Tilted Lady, odds-on favorite. All set for the late pick 4 at Oaklawn Park. Matt Dinneman standing by.
St. Albans Raid coming forward. Factor that. Windy Bay will be next. $151,000 in the pick 4 pool. Ladies and gentlemen, Bow Draw about to go in. Aloha Baby, Ain't No Shakin' Kid. Ain't No Shakin' Kid goes in. 2-back. Edith Strudis. Hand to the outside post. Titled Lady. Here's Titled Lady. Louis Saez coming up. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Stutter step start from Mercy Warren. Good beginning from Lady Dreamer, who's on the lead. Factor that, has some speed as well. Down on the inside, it's Stellar Lily. Lover Girl in the mix as well. Now going to ease off the speed here. Titled Lady not far off in the red jacket, black cap, just a length and a half off three runners who pretty much line up here. St. Albans Raid is in the sixth position early on. Windy Bay to her outside. There's a gap of 2 to Aloha Baby. Mercy Warren is down on the inside. Bow Draw, Ain't No Shaking Kid in that lineup. And a gap of 4 to Edith Strudis, who can see them all as they round the far turn. Lady Dreamer, factor that. They are side by side. Titled Lady in third, 3 wide, creeping in, gets a good trip, does this favorite. 2 back to Windy Bay is sent upon. Lover Girl is given way to 5th while under pressure. St. Albans Raid and an all-out drive. Aloha Baby right behind her. Top of the stretch. Lady Dreamer comes off the turn, but here's Titled Lady on the scene. Titled Lady, Louise Saez blowing by inside the furlong pole and opening up. Titled Lady by 4. Titled Lady by 5. Titled Lady by 6. Maybe even 7 coming to the finish. It's a one-horse affair. It's Titled Lady here in race number 8. 1 at 3 to 5. 1 like she was 1 to 9. Windy Bay was second. Lover Girl third. Tight for fourth, Bow Draw or Edith Strudis.
Running up the score, odds-on favorite delivers Titled Lady by Daylight to kick off the late pick 4.
That was incredibly impressive. She was a bit wide early as far as that outside draw, but showed some early speed. And wow, she won like a favorite should, that's for sure. Backed that $20,000 effort up against 35 claimers beautifully. Won like the favorite should. She had that 79 Beyer speed figure last time out and certainly backed it up. But hey, she's 2 for 6 at Oaklawn Park. Don't believe she's hit the board. She's always been ultra consistent hitting the board. As we take a look at the drone shot, she just powered away from them late.
Yeah, just before this and rounding the far turn, you could see the 2 horses off the rail. Their riders were encouraging, and Louis Saez on Titled Lady was water skiing.
I mean, cruise control, but you go all the way back. She's got some back class, and N1X allowance winner all the way back in December of 2024. So gets back to a fast track, no issues, and proved best today.
Robert Gardner, winning owner, congrats. Randy Morris, first after the claim. Titled Lady wins in a big way. The favorite. 3 to 5 at post time, 12, 10, 7, 4 here. Results forthcoming. Plus, yesterday's Smarty Jones statement race. Strategic Risk runaway winner while earning 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby.
Back with you on our Sunday coverage of America's Day at the Races. It was Tilted Lady, short price odds-on winner in race 8 for the Randy Morse barn. First off the claim, back-to-back wins for 2 different barns.
Randy Morse has struggled off the claim, 1 for 60-something over the last 5 years. Well, now it's 2 for 60-something as Tilted Lady. Titled Lady, Titled Lady or Tilted Lady?
Titled, yeah.
Titled Lady. She was a week the best.
And after a very slow start to the meet for Saez, he has really started to pick things up.
He's going to have a very good meet down there, in my opinion. He's a good rider, and he's going to fit in extremely well there, to say the least.
And this one was no contest.
Yep.
8 wins now, 23 career starts for this 6-year-old mare. 3rd win at Oaklawn in 7 tries, and wins again at 3-5. Windy Bay, Lover Girl, both double-digit odds. Lover Girl 35-1 completes the trifecta. That pays over $57. Feature race is next. The Mockingbird 3-year-old fillies, $150,000 purse. We talked earlier in the program about the Mike Maker barn sending out Woodstock, stakes winner at Remington, looking for her 3rd career victory with the outside post.
Yeah, I think that she is the horse to beat in here. She just faced better horses pretty much throughout her career and run some of the better races than anybody. I have no argument against her as being a heavy favorite, likely winner.
And Francisco Arrieta will be aboard. Couple of other interesting runners, though, in this group. We'll talk more about the Mockingbird coming up in a moment. Their feature on this Sunday card. We're going to look back to Saturday and the road to the Kentucky Derby. The Jerome did not go quite as fast as the Busanda later in the day. But for My World, it's now 3 wins in a row. And Brad Cox, with a son of essential quality, who of course won the Belmont and the Travers. It's his first crop of 3-year-olds. Believes going longer might even be better for this horse.
Yeah, he's not flashy. He hasn't been fast. And he's got a long way to go to prove that he's a real contender at the higher levels. Having said that, I think what you have to like about him is that he's improving with every start. He's getting better. He's green. You see him lugging in a little bit there and sort of running in spots. And I think he is going to keep getting better. He's an essential quality, should want more distance. He's just not sure how good he really is. But I thought he ran well yesterday, and you have to like the fact that he keeps progressing.
Yeah, 1 turn mile in the winter at Aqueduct, that is a long way from that first Saturday in May and 1.25 miles at 2 turns in Louisville. But good stepping stone. Brad Cox has been very encouraged by this horse. And now looking at, they skipped the Remsen and turned out to be the right move to give this horse a little more time. Looking at the Withers now, the end of the month at 1 1/8 is maybe the next target.
Yeah, you would think that he wants to get to a race like that and see if he can run against some tougher competition. I think we're likely to see a couple of Chad Brown runners that broke their maidens in the Withers, and the competition will get deeper, but you can't argue this horse just keeps improving from a speed figure standpoint. I think that's what you want to see. Is he good enough? We'll find out as time goes on.
3 big preps remain here in New York. The Withers, the next one, end of the month. That's January 31st. And My World, for right now anyway, likely to show up there off wins in the Nashua, now the Jerome. That's a nice way to start off the new year.
I agree. And, it's not like there's a herd of really fast 3-year-old colts out there right now. So I can understand why people would be optimistic, at least with horses that seem a little bit slow now, that they can improve and get themselves there. But he needs to get faster.
And 2, we're early in the month, just turn the page. Right. New names can emerge who we've not even heard of yet.
I agree. I mean, right now, obviously, Ted Nafi is, if he's not a unanimous winner of the Eclipse Award, whoever didn't vote for him first should lose their vote. It's as simple as that. It's ridiculous. He's so clear-cut as the winner. But whether or not when he's going to come back, I haven't really heard anything about that. Where we're going to see him, does he want to go further? I think there's a lot of room here at the top.
Long way to go, but at the same time, it comes up very quickly, doesn't it?
It does. It seems like it always comes up faster than you think.
Well, let's send it back out to Hot Springs and hear from Lafitte and Megan with more.
As always, lots of twists and turns en route to the first Saturday in May. And what we saw yesterday from Strategic Risk, the Florida bred, and then clearly has figured out what he does best, is run 2 turns on dirt, Megan.
he has found his place amongst some of the buzz horses of the newly turned 3-year-old division here for trainer Mark Cassie. A 1-2 finish for the Oxleys. I think Silent Tactic ran fantastic. According to Mark Cassie, he says he's really excited to see this horse move forward. Perhaps a allowance race confidence booster in his future, but it was confirmed that the upcoming Southwest likely the target for this winner of the Smarty Jones yesterday. Very impressive, big striding colt, wants all the ground he can get, and bypassed, I believe, Noble Bird, now the highest moneymaker for his Florida bred sire there. So don't underestimate those Florida breds. He surely looks like one with some real ability.
That's one side of the story, how impressive Strategic Risk was in victory. The other is the no-shows, essentially. Universe, Rancho Santa Fe, who were last and second to last going into the first turn and didn't get much better thereafter.
No, it was a track where you wanted to be forwardly placed, that's for sure. And Rancho Santa Fe just didn't have the right kind of trip or ride there, but looking for him to hopefully improve, maybe down. We'll maybe see him at the fairgrounds. We'll see where we can maybe see him next. I want to continue to follow him along, see if he can progress, but didn't show up quite yesterday.
1 down, 3 to go in this Oaklawn Road to the Kentucky Derby. Southwest when racing resumes. Again, this is closing day of the holiday meet. Classic meet resumes Southwest weekend. The Rebel Stakes and the Arkansas Derby. Strategic Risk, though, just a final thought as far as a day to kind of digest everything we saw yesterday. How do you feel he stacks up with the upper echelon 3-year-olds?
I think he stacks up favorably at this point in time, but as Andy mentioned, there's plenty of room for the top, and he's one that was incredibly impressive in 2 consecutive efforts now, but as you mentioned, those no-shows, we'll see how tough that race comes back. It appeared wide open in the beginning stages, but when you look back at it, they weren't exactly all that impressive behind him, so we'll see if he can continue to move forward.
And when racing does resume here, Greg, look forward to that Southwest. And Decode, who was historically fast in his last start, looks like we'll see him in that $1 million Southwest Stakes.
And Strategic Risk, of course, pointing to that as well. He's not leaving the grounds in Hot Springs. As we take a look at the leaderboard, and of course, Mark Cassie, he's got Ewing, who he's pointing to the Rebel, coming up soon.
Well, we'll see how far Ewing really wants to go. That's a question that's very much open to debate. As far as Strategic Risk, I see him similarly to My World. They're both of them are just not fast enough to definitely consider strong contenders at this point. I do not agree with Meg that the track was playing considerably for speed horses. I think we've seen horses make moves. I think that race was favorable to front runners because the pace didn't develop the way it looked on paper. And Strategic Risk found him sitting second on a very, very moderate pace. And as they both pointed out, the horses of that form going the race were complete no-shows. Thought he ran fine, but I don't think he ran well enough to suggest that he's shown himself to be a major contender. Much like My World, it's early. He may improve. He'll need to.
We see Napoleon Solo on that list. Number 7 for Chad Summers was so impressive, winning the Champagne. Passed on the Breeders' Cup. Waiting to see where he winds up as well for his 3-year-old debut.
Listen, his Champagne was very, very good, but there's a big difference between setting a fast pace in a 1-mile race like that and going on and proving that you're a horse towards the Derby. But based on his Champagne, if he can continue running like that or improve on it, he's pretty darn good wherever he runs.
Yeah. Feature to come on this Sunday card out at Oaklawn, and this one right here. Public all over Walkaway K, 1-9, current favorite for the barn of Danny Pish after winning the debut and a runner-up in Stakes Company at Oaklawn.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing starts December 12th. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs. And come join the fun.
And it's lights out. Locked. Pouring it on. Running aggressively through the stretch to win by 7 easy lengths.
Here is Locked. Locked racing by on the outside for the lead. Locked, the wine steward, it is Locked.
Here comes Locked after Mulligan. Locked catching with every single stride, and Locked will win the Cigar Mile.
It's all about luck, dominating the big cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
This holiday season, give the gift of racing with NYRA Bets gift cards. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your own account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NYRABets.com.
GW's girl rallying on in a second, and she's so spicy with the lead, but GW's girl's making a race of it. She's so spicy, asked for her best. GW's girl on the outside, getting to this front runner, and GW's girl has gone by. GW's girl and Francisco Arrieta win the Mockingbird.
That was early on, back in 2025. GW's girl rolling by a filly who tried to do it on the front end. She'd find her fame and fortune moving to grass, where she became this past year's Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner. She's so spicy.
Yes, she's so spicy. Well, I could see the argument for her as perhaps the Eclipse winner as the female sprinter of the year, as there really wasn't a decisive horse in that category. I saw somebody who voted for her as the 3-year-old top filly over Nitrogen. I think that person should lose their vote.
Well, walk away, Kay. This is the one who was 1-9 when we went to break. She remains that number as we return.
Yeah, somebody bet $40,000 to win on her. We've seen that player doing it in New York. Probably the same person, and it's an odd horse to bet $40,000 on. But then again, any horse is an odd horse to bet 40 on.
Mockingbird, the feature. Let's go to Megan.
Here in the paddock, taking a look at these fillies, and the number 7 currently is a complete overlay in the way of Woodstock up there at 9-1. And as you mentioned, some of that money filtrating towards your favorite, currently at number 5. But I really like what I'm seeing from the number 7 Woodstock for the Mike Maker barn, and I have no qualms with this horse, particularly being able to see her for the first time in the flesh. She's been running against better than these, getting the best, as mentioned earlier in the program, against the likes of Counting Stars, 3-back and a 2-back in the Myrtlewood, running well, outkicked by some classy type fillies and some stakes winners. So I just found her to be the class of this group. She's sharp, she's on her toes, she draws favorably from the outside in terms of having that tactical stance in this race, where the speed drawn towards the inside there, and I just liked her physically, liked her on paper. She's the class to me of this group, and where I find myself landing. The number 2 Evolution for John Ortiz got his first winner of the meet earlier in the card. One that comes off some speedy efforts in Florida. She could be sent for with an aggressive rider in Ricardo Santana. We'll see how it plays out with the filly directly to her inside. But sharp, comes over again, as mentioned, from Carlos David, ran earlier in the summer in the Schuylerville, where I actually was there that day, and I think she's clearly grown up, filled out, and another that was sharp, and I'm anticipating her to obviously be a part of that pace. Has to get faster, and one that 2-back is just as far as putting the, as far as the equipment and putting the hood and blinkers on her back in September 7th, originally just had her in that shadow roll. I think it really helped her. Again, natural gate speed, and I'm looking for her to hopefully spice things up there at a price. Greg?
All right, Megan, thank you. Here they come onto the track post-parade for this Mockingbird feature for 3-year-old fillies. $150,000 person. That one right there, just moving off the screen, the 5, holding at this ridiculous number of being overbet at 1-9.
Well, with one person obviously skewing the odds, I'm going to look at the will pays, and I highly doubt that. No, this horse. I even think with that bet that the bottom horse will be the favorite by post time. CAWs will see to that.
But look, having said that, and slowly starting to even out here, showed ability with a win in the debut, and then ran credible effort against a next out winner in Stakes Company here at Oaklawn.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say she's not a contender. I just think that she's not supposed to be and won't be the favorite. But I thought the race was 7 over 2 and 5.
You know, Woodstock, don't get too excited about the numbers on anyone in here.
Dam, like the name, Hot Hippie is the dam.
Very well named for Paradise Farms.
So not after peanuts.
Here is nickel and dime. So Randy Morris, we just saw win. This one will cut back in distance off the claim.
I'm not ready to declare Randy Morris a trainer. You want to bet off the claim. Winning is for the second time in over 60 starts off the claim. Over 5 starts does turn back, but claim from Robertino Diodoro.
Yeah, it was a win against 50 maiden claiming company as well at a mile and a 16th. That was at Churchill. Evolution next door, moving to the John Ortiz barn.
Looks like the horse to catch up in here. Looks like the main speed, and the race 2 back is fast enough to win, but not a lot of consistency.
There she is. She is very quick early.
Florida bred.
Ricardo Santana Jr. rides. Prowess, moving barns, moves away from Ken McPeak to Burl McBride.
Yeah, the best race that she's run was a turf race, actually, and Ken McPeak's a tough trainer to move up.
Stakes winner at Zia Park, Wakuda last start.
Yeah, and the big figure was at 5.5 furlongs. We'll see if those form is transferred here.
Here's the huge favorite, Walkaway K.
I have no idea what would possess somebody to make a huge bet on this horse, but she will need to improve to win here.
Grace is free. Kelsey Har rides, long shot.
Yeah, she seems a little. She finished well behind the number 5 last time out.
Win came in Minnesota at Canterbury, and then Woodstock. Many probably believe the one to beat.
Yeah, her last race was disappointing, but she was 25-1. Her prior 2 races would win this race in all likelihood.
So 5 minutes away from this Mockingbird, Evolution, the 2 moving barns, now with John Ortiz, and he's with Megan.
Well, it's a cousin to cousin. Carlos David Barn here with you now. This Florida bred for Arundel, and gotten one work under her belt here at Oaklawn Park. What are some things you figured out about her?
No, you know, she came in really well. My cousin and I have the same kind of mentality as far as filly goes. Train them lightly and, you know, gave her good work here. She worked fantastic here. You know, she's obviously shown some speed in the past. Got Ricardo on her this time, and I think, you know, if she could catch a flyer, you know, great. If not, I think we want to sit right off the pace, give her a target, and make her run at him.
You find that rateability is something that she can kind of grow into as far as a dimension with her tactically?
Yeah, you know, we've seen that in the mornings, and she's very kind of sensible. And but like I said, I think don't want to get her burned up in the front, but if we catch a flyer, I think that's the way to go.
Well, best of luck here. You got a winner earlier on the card with a first-time starter, but always nice to see you here at Oaklawn Park, Johnny.
Thank you.
Greg?
There is Evolution. So first time in the John Ortiz barn. And she is quick early. We certainly know that. And we'll see if, I said if he can catch a flyer, breaks clean, she'll try and take him as far as she can, you would think, on the front end.
Yeah, I mean, she does look like the speed, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for John Ortiz and the job he's been doing. So I won't be surprised if this one runs well in here. I think that she is one of the biggest threats, the favorite, along with the 5. And, you know, the board is so skewed because of that one bet. And, you know, just keep in mind, we see a lot of the late odds changes at Oaklawn, the last flash, and these odds are going to change precipitously.
This one, Walkaway K is not going to remain this price, but has been way over bet, odds on throughout, 1 to 5 right now. Let's take a look back at what she has done on the racetrack. Won the debut November 15th at Remington.
Yeah, I mean, I think a feather in her cap is that she ran a similar figure to a Remington race at Oaklawn, because I've noticed over time that Remington figures are not always easy to duplicate at Oaklawn, and she did do that. And she's run well enough that with, you know, natural improvement, she could really be a major contender in this race. She doesn't have any speed, and it's not clear how much speed there's going to be in this race. Now, the 7 isn't a big speed either. She has more speed, though, than Walkaway K, and it doesn't seem it has a lot of pace. So I think of the horses with speed, the 2 is clearly the best one, at least in my opinion.
3 minutes to post to the Mockingbird. Let's go back to Lafitte and Megan.
The Sunday feature here, final day of the holiday meet, this Mockingbird, and had a chance to touch on some of the contenders. Megan, nickel and dime drawn inside. Trainer Randy Morris looking to saddle back-to-back winners on the program, scratched out of a race Friday to specifically run in this spot.
It's encouraging scratching out of that starter optional that she was entered in and now into a filled-up stakes foe was quite the uptick in class for this filly, but she showed she was pretty impressive last time out at Churchill Downs. Rowdy touting that mile and a 16th, now takes the cutback in distance and gets to Oaklawn Park for the very first time. But she is quick. I believe the objective would be to obviously just send her from that inside post with that natural speed that she showed in her two of those starts. She was a no-show 2 back there, but I found she was interesting. It is a pretty big ask of this horse, but liked her on paper, and that last outs figure puts her in the mix here.
A bigger number than you would have anticipated, at least for the time being, at 14-1. Nickel and dime, given all the attention on Walkaway K, now 2-5, and for her, if nothing else, doesn't have to deal with the likes of Counting Stars this afternoon.
Takes that out of the equation, gets right back sprinting here for the Danny Pishbarn, and didn't take a whole lot of money on debut. The Pishbarn not exactly known for their firsters, but she looked fantastic in the flesh. I didn't quite like her as much as I liked the 7 physically, but handled herself pretty professionally there with the Pish assistant getting the tack on. But she's come off of things in 2 tries. She's kind of that closing type sprinter. We'll see what kind of pace she has in front of her. They'll be a pretty good tempo. A couple of these horses, as we've mentioned, with that speed. But does have to come from off of it. She's consistent. She's sharp. I'm quite fond of the Honest Mischiefs up in New York, who have some precocious types that I've seen. And I really thought that was interesting, kind of that Honest Mischief love here for a filly bred in Arkansas.
Wakuda, number 4. Winchell Thoroughbred Homebred. Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen. Teamed up for 2 stakes wins yesterday. One in the Commodore. Obliteration in the Renaissance, trying for this Mockingbird, and Wakuda trying for a 3rd straight win.
And while I didn't love her for last out, she beat a field of not a world beaters, that's for sure, at Zia last time out to technically be a stakes winner. But I love her rateability. I think that she, while she hasn't beaten very good horses in her last couple of tries, I like her tactical ability. Joelle has been timing everything so perfectly this weekend. She's got quite the engine on her. She's fit. She looks like a classic Asmussen turned out type horse in the paddock. I don't have any issues with her, but she regressed in her figure last time out at Zia, but she's never been at Oaklawn Park before, and sometimes that's always a big question mark. Particularly how they're going to handle the surface, and Zia Park is definitely a different one, that's for sure.
Figures to be forwardly placed. You spoke with trainer John Ortiz. Evolution, she is quick and likely the quickest getting out of the blocks. Like the fight that she showed. I thought that was a very good effort in the Sandpiper at Tampa in her latest.
Exactly. I'm really taking some interest with this filly, especially at the price and in a group that I don't find that anybody has this huge edge. Obviously in class, the 7 does, but the 2 Evolution has been in with stakes company there. Ran, of course, as I mentioned, in the Schuylerville, was beaten last time out there, but she was hanging on her left lead, still a little bit green last time out, so I'm hoping she can figure a couple of things out. But she is one that I really would watch with an aggressive rider, being able to be hopefully the speed in this group. She really intrigues me underneath a horse like the 7.
She wound up with Woodstock and Francisco Arrieta looking for back-to-back editions of the Mockingbird. Right now it shows even money. Walkaway K, the favorite for the Sunday feature, the Mockingbird, live on FS1. Here's Matt Dinneman.
Woodstock to round out the field. We're ready to go from the Mockingbird Stakes, and Laroff. All 7 broke in a single file line. Evolution up on the lead as ahead in front. Nickel and Dime to the inside is right there matching her. Prowess is not far off as well. Grace is free in the 4th position in the orange in a tightly clumped up field. Walkaway K is next. Wakuda second to last, and Woodstock can see them all at the back. 5 behind on the outside as they hit the half-mile pole. Evolution, Ricardo Santana Jr. open up a length here. Grace is free. Now claiming second, making an early move after the lead as they round the far turn. Prowess back in 3rd now, sent along 3 behind with Nickel and Dime to the inside. Walkaway K is 5th in an all-out drive. She's 6 lengths behind. Really needs to turn it around with Wakuda and Woodstock. The 3 favorites, 3rd last, and 2nd to last respectively, coming off the turn. In the meantime, Grace is free, makes a jailbreak to the lead, and Evolution has completely given way here. Big space of 4 back to Nickel and Dime. Woodstock on the far outside getting into it here. Grace is free in front. Grace is free, trying to spring the upset. Nickel and Dime right there, then Woodstock. Grace is free. Kelsey Haar, they've got the win in the Mockingbird Stakes. Grace is free at 15-1, and Kelsey Haar stole it at the far turn. Nickel and Dime was 2nd, Woodstock 3rd, Walkaway K next.
She blew the race wide open on the far turn. Kelsey Haar, Robert Klein, first win of the meet, takes place in the Mockingbird. Grace is free in upset 15-1 in the Sunday feature as we wind down this holiday meet.
Congrats to Kelsey Haar as well. A well-earned win there. 20 starts so far this holiday meeting, notching her first win. And wow, I mean, this horse really took a step forward from last time out where Walkaway K got the better of her, turned the tables, and needed the start after a bit of time away, and just powered home in the stretch off a sharp breeze there on New Year's Eve.
6-1-7-5, nickel and dime chasing in vain. The favorites, Woodstock wound up 4-5. Walkaway K 5-2. Your thoughts on their performances?
Walkaway K I was never quite that fond of. She kind of ran the same kind of race, but Woodstock was closing with energy there late as she was a little further off of it than I would have anticipated her being. Ran well, but it was all Grace is free here in this race, a bit more forward, and she's kind of a leggy horse. I think that she's even going to get better with a little bit more added ground as well.
Grace is free. Kelsey Haar in the Mockingbird here at Oaklawn Park. Results, reaction, as our coverage continues on this Sunday afternoon in Hot Springs on FS1. And when we return, the star of the sport. What a year. Sovereignty, Derby winner, Belmont winner, Travers victor, naturally Horse of the Year finalist. Stay tuned. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1.
Back on our Sunday coverage on America's Day at the Races. Such an incredible town with some of the best racing in the sport. And if you've not been to Hot Springs, put it on your list. Feature, Mockingbird. This is quite a surprise. Grace is free and won the debut in Minnesota and Shakopee at Canterbury. It's been tough going since, but now a stakes winner after this performance in Hot Springs. Our Winter Circle lead-in brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton Kentucky Winter Mix Sale, scheduled for February 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. Enter now at FasigTipton.com. Grace is free with the upset win. Let's go to Megan.
Well, a very meaningful win. Grace is free here with trainer Robert Klein. And wow, can you just speak to the improvement that you saw from this horse and just powering away in the stretch the way she did?
She works pretty fast, and I think first time she's got to string a couple together with no excuses. So we was happy to see the effort. Yeah, I thought she did it the right way.
You get on all your own horses in the morning, a sharp New Year's Eve breeze. What were your thoughts kind of coming into this race? She looked fantastic, I might add, in the paddock as well.
Well, I think that's just kind of the horse. Big, pretty filly. And like I said, she seems like she's pretty fast in the morning. To see it in the afternoon, it makes it all worthwhile, you know.
She's pretty leggy filly. Do you expect her to maybe even appreciate some more added ground?
I do. The family's always run a little bit better as they were stretched out. So hopefully we can try that at some point.
Well, great win. Congrats to you and Kelsey here.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you.
Greg?
$32 winner. Grace is free. Very hard one to find in this race. Wow, nickel and dime. Winds up second. Woodstock at 4-5. Those odds flipped late. Do know better than third.
I can safely say I would have had to go very, very deep in the all by all exacta to have this exacta.
I would be
I'm
right
not
there
sure
with
it
you.
was my, I don't know if it was my 42nd choice, but it's close.
Race 10, 2-turn mile, entry-level allowance. It's fillies and mares, 4 and up.
I smoked out Colonial Rose. Don't spread it around. But I had it between this Colonial Rose and Gowell's Delight. I got the 2 chalks.
And Luis Saez rider change on Gowell's Delight. But yeah, Colonial Rose, Norm Cassie with Ricardo Santana Jr. And much more on this race coming up shortly. Eclipse Awards finalists have been announced. Horse of the Year nominees will be announced, I believe, on the day of the event. But obviously, Sovereignty, your first horse ever to pull off a Kentucky Derby, Belmont, Jim Dandy, Travers quadruple. Not bad. Is he, in your eyes, a lock for Horse of the Year?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I am a big fan of Forever Young. I think he's absolutely terrific. But I don't really care that much. But if I were to make rules for the Eclipse Awards, you would not be eligible with one race in America. I really don't like that. I think there are foreign awards for horses that race overseas. It's fine that the Europeans come for the Breeders' Cup, but I don't believe that a horse should win an Eclipse Award with one race. I just don't.
And Forever Young, of course,
and I'm a big fan.
Breeders' Cup Classic winner. Put that aside. Let's just say that you did believe that. Put that aside. Still, the campaign Sovereignty had and the races he won, and as he got better with each race progressively.
I mean, if you're going to...
Even if you do believe.
I don't know, Greg. If you say that, then you can say that, Forever Young won the Saudi Cup against Romantic Warrior.
So it was a turf horse.
I understand, but he really showed up that day. I would vote for Sovereignty, don't get me wrong. Even to win the Derby, the Belmont, and the Travers the way he did, yes, I believe he's Horse of the Year in this year.
I agree with you.
If Forever Young had come here and won the Whitney, and then the Breeders' Cup, I think would be a different discussion, but he didn't.
Great story, though. I mean, this horse is just, he shows up every single time, even though he did have that defeat earlier in the year.
He didn't show up in the World Cup, and he still only got beaten by about a length. He's terrific. I'm a huge fan.
Amazing horse who probably should have won the Kentucky Derby back when he was a 3-year-old.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree like that. I believe he should have placed second. If I was a steward, I would have taken down Sierra Leone. Having said all that, he didn't run here except for the Breeders' Cup. And, if he and Sovereignty hadn't gotten sick and he squared up the Breeders' Cup, maybe a different discussion. But I think for Horse of the Year, this was Sovereignty.
Would have to see those two go head-to-head. We did get robbed of that a little bit. That would be tremendous to see. Unfortunately, Fever for Sovereignty didn't get to happen, but 2 tremendous horses. But, I would think Sovereignty, with all he accomplished, the story he was this year, seems like he is a lock.
Here's my question to you. Who would you have third?
Yeah.
I might vote for Nitrogen third because she was such a cool horse this year, running all year. Because I don't think there's a perfect choice for a horse for third there. And I think that she should be rewarded for the kind of year she had. You know, I mean, just obviously, I would say she's third, beaten 30 lengths. But
there's several you could make a case for. And,
but,
you know, Nysos would be one of them, but his resume doesn't come. No one's resume stacks comes up close to what these two did.
No, I agree. They're terrific racehorses, both of them.
And really, particularly what Sovereignty did.
I agree. He was terrific this year, and he ran the big races and won them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't run against Olders, and he didn't run the fall. That's a shame.
We're going to take a time out. We'll be back. More to come from Oaklawn. Race 10, 17 minutes away. Joel Rosario, he's been here before when he was mainly teamed up with Steve Asmussen, finding to find his footing in Hot Springs. Back again, returning from New York to Arkansas. Stay with us.
Bright future indeed. Bright future, the son of Curlin to win by 4. Bright future, Proxy, here's the line. Photo finish, Bright future.
Bright future, look at that. Bright future, the class prevails.
Bright future, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You bet with NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NYRA Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NYRA Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NYRA Bets.
A warrior from the start. He's got grit, the kind champions are made of. In his biggest battles, he showed his mettle.
Sierra Leone is plugging in. Dornock is coming back. Dornock in the Remsen.
What separates the best isn't just talent, it's meeting the moment. A will to win, to scrap and fight like your life depends on it.
Dornock in an absolute thriller. Dornock and Mindframe, it will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stakes.
Look your rival in the eye and say, not today.
And Dornock stubborn. Dornock wins the Haskell.
A world-class athlete made for the fight. That's Dornock.
I mean, just feel like. I mean, just feel like, you know, the right place to be in the winter here now, and you know, we always love it here to be here. Just you know, good energy. You know, people come to the races and all that stuff. So, you know, just nice to be back for their home here. Yes.
Concert Tour is running them off their feet in the Rebel.
I have a lot of good memory here. You know, winning the Rebel and a lot of other big races. You know, it's been fun always here. Just like I said, you know, people and everything. You know, they're always nice, and you know, it's you know, if you want to be in a win this one way, yes, it's the right place to be.
Down to the wire. Orb has won the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for one, so you know where it come from. You know, but I think to be here and the hope, and you know, just you know, we're looking for that one. So hopefully we'll find one good one.
And Joel Rosario, lots to smile about. That is the colt he'll be riding, the filly, I should say, Azona, in the upcoming 10th race. Rosario yesterday, 2 stakes wins, Obliteration in the Renaissance, and Bourbon Bash in the Commodore.
You know, I am getting to know Joel Rosario throughout my time being in New York and over the summer at Saratoga, and you just can't help but love Joel. And he has had such a precision in his timing with his races here. We take a look at Bourbon Bash off the layoff. I mean, this horse we hadn't seen since May of 2024.
Hasn't moved a muscle.
I mean, cruise control. And, you know, as his agent would say, he would say that Joel gets horses to settle and puts them to sleep. His hands are magic, and it just really, you could see it here with Bourbon Bash, who ran an incredible race and tap into this also a stakes winner here for Steve Asmussen, one that's a quirky kind of colt that you really have to time right, and that he did in that stakes victory in the coach. So nice start. He moved his tack here to Oaklawn Park, and we love having him here.
Hall of Famer, won some of the biggest races all over the world. Kentucky Derby with Orb back in 2013. A couple of stakes wins yesterday. Joel Rosario, yeah, he was regarded as one of the strongest finishers in the game, but as you mentioned, that finesse part of his game as well.
And that's so important. It really is. Just the way he's not only able to really time those rides, but to really be able to, as I mentioned, handle them and time it so right and put them to sleep, as you would say. But he's just been riding great here at Oaklawn. It was kind of funny. The first weekend, Louis and Joel, they weren't, I would say, winning every race at the first couple of days, and everybody kind of thought, wait a second, but there's no surprise that they're quickly climbing up the jockey standings here at Oaklawn, and it's just a pleasure to have these caliber riders here in this colony in Hot Springs.
Yeah, Greg, poised for another big season here at Oaklawn Park. Joel Rosario.
Oh, Rosario and Size, their addition kind of puts everybody on notice out there. I mean, you got two major leaguers, big-time riders showing up.
Joel rode there 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say.
It's an Eclipse Award-winning year.
Right. It depends, how much time they actually spend there. They go away on weekends riding stakes out of town. I think Louis will probably be there a little more than Joel, but these guys are, two of the better riders in the game. I'm an unabashed fan of Joel particularly.
Not to mention, throw into the mix Ricardo Santana Jr. He's on the current favorite, Colonial Rose. That one for Norm Cassie, 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the concern with her is her lack of speed. Now, the 8 isn't exactly a forward horse either. Is a little bit faster on paper. There should be some speed, though. I mean, Joel's on a horse that was very fast, albeit at Indiana first time out. That horse should be forward. But I thought Colonial Rose, is a very logical horse. And she's been short priced in her races, but she runs well and just seems like she's a little bit better than a lot of the competition here. Though Gallo's Delight does have some fast races on the go back. Her return, though, a bit of a concern.
Colonial Rose at her best in a win at Churchill. But, her follow-up efforts, not bad either at Keeneland. And Churchill, even though she was a distant third last start, earned a better figure than she did in the win we just showed you.
I agree. I think she's the worst to beat. I mean, it's not an easy race. Very few of their races are easy. But they look like the two best horses coming into the race.
There in the background, that's the one Joel Rosario will ride. Ozona. Steve Asmussen, this is a tough ask here at 6 to win it first asking on a wet track, Horseshoe Indy, and now stretch out to a mile against much more seasoned company.
Yeah, an Indiana bred stretching out. I mean, yeah, she's supposed to be in front, but she's a volatile. Is she really going to want more distance? Not my cup of tea, but she did win easily first time out.
By more than 10 lengths. Yeah, 3-5. And who knows, maybe she's better on a fast track. We'll see.
She'll have to be. Maybe she's better longer.
This is
should be the speed, though.
6-1 right now for start number 2 for Ozona. And there's Joel with Steve Asmussen waiting to hop aboard here, getting some final instructions.
Concise, they're in deep conversation there.
Expect they've gone over things.
Or not.
When you have one like this with her speed, there's not much to talk about.
Joel's not a guy that, gets a lot of instructions. He's a instinctive rider, but a very, very good one at that. One of the nicest people that you will ever run into anywhere in life, Joel Rosario. Just a great guy.
So that one's 6-1 on the board. Coming out for the post parade here momentarily, our colleague Tom Amos with one of the races as well. He's going to send out the 11 Showers, who are going to try and win a third in a row. He claimed last time out, put right back in the winner's circle. We'll see if the streak can continue stretching out.
She should be forward as she stretches out. Not a great post for her because she gets some position early because there is some real speed inside of her. Kentucky Smoke Show has some speed, as does Bolt on the Rocks.
9-2 on Showers, who we'll get to momentarily. There's the favorite. Ricardo Santana Jr. Pressed us so much, spending more time than we'd really seen in a long time in New York. Does everything well, but of course he is dominated and knows Oaklawn as well as anybody.
Yeah, no question about it.
Several riding titles when he was Steve Asmussen's main man out there.
Yeah, no, we'll see how he does at Oaklawn. It's a pretty competitive colony, but it's a competitive colony here as well.
Let's kick things off here in a moment with Kentucky Smoke Show. As you mentioned, speed inside in the rail, so she has to go. Can she outquick the 4?
Yeah, that's the question. But from the rail, I mean, Bacon has no choice. You've got to go with this horse. Is she fast enough, though? Because there are other fast horses in this race.
She's been pretty quick of late. 2 for 12 lifetime. She's a volatile filly as well. Chris Hartman trains. And there's young Tyler Bacon, young rider who's made some big gains early in his career.
She's failed her 2 times trying to route around 2 turns.
C'est la vie, Charlie, for Gennaro Garcia.
Another horse stretching out, though she has run longer before. Would have to improve a little bit.
Here's Thestral with Francisco Arrieta.
He's had a lot of chances, but is a horse that likes to go long, but I just don't think is fast enough to beat these.
Here's Rosario for Asmussen on Ozona.
I mean, listen, she's an unproven horse that maybe she has some upside, but not a horse I would take here.
Here's Ricardo Santana Jr., Norm Cassie, Colonial Rose.
She just consistently runs races that make her probably the horse to beat.
She is the favorite, yeah. Lady Woo Pig, Alan Milligan trains.
It's an interesting name. Not sure where that comes from.
Arkansas bred.
Yep.
There it is. Bolt on the rocks at 12-1.
Off the claim for Wayne Potts, who has been winning some races at Oaklawn. Claimed away, though, from Chris Hartman. Not an easy guy. Claimed from.
Rider change. Luis Saez on Goel's Delight.
We'll see if her last race was an aberration because she has good back races, but her last was bad off the layoff.
This would be a shocker. Asking for a raise?
Yes, yes. Without a question, this horse needs to improve off the very best races.
Quiet, I'm not. Slight turn back in distance.
Yeah, another one that needs to run a better race to win this race with the Apprentice.
Iowa bred. Here's Tom Amos's Showers stretching out.
Indiana breds, Iowa breds from everywhere. We'll root for Tom, but she needs to get better for Tom going longer.
And Thea on the outside, just missed by a neck last start at Oaklawn.
Looks every bit of 43-1 on paper.
5 minutes of post in race 10. Let's send it back out to Hot Springs.
Getting set for this 10th race. Really good crew, competitive race. Filly and Mare sprinters chasing for the winner's share of a $115,000 purse, Megan.
And this race, to me, when I'm looking at it on paper, the number 8 Goal is Delight obviously has class and back form, but it's going to be interesting to see if she can rebound. She showed speed last time out and then just weakened. Maybe she just needed that one, but I'm interested to see if she'll progress and move forward from that.
We just heard from Joel Rosario. He's riding Ozona. She's conceding experience to most of these. They're right behind us. Ozona, how do you think she follows up that blowout win at Indy in the slop?
She gets to a fast track for the first time, and she looked fantastic. I really liked what I saw from her. She's a daughter of Volatile. Love those Volatiles sprinting here and earned a solid speed figure. And she did it in a short field at Indiana. She has to get better, obviously, but they're opting to place her directly into this condition when she was obviously against Indiana breds last time out. And I liked what I saw from her. You're getting a price. Obviously, she concedes the experience, but she was able to rate last time out a bit, but she still had quite a bit of early speed there. I wouldn't say she rated. She had speed, but I really liked her, the way she finished that race. And as mentioned, it is a class test, but she checked all the boxes for me physically as well.
Just her second career start. Number 8 Goals Delight. More experience. This will be her 9th, and make the rider Luis Saez a contender. Key to success for her today.
Yeah, she cuts back a little bit in distance off that mile and a 16th effort last time out. And as I mentioned, was that just her last time out? Did she just fade and weaken? But she did so off of a layoff there back in June. And we mentioned the backlash. She's run behind some solid horses. And how good is she? Sometimes we have these form lines where, yes, she was way off of a Kentucky Oaks winner all the way back in the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra, but I'm trying to find her identity now. She's a filly by Practical Joke, so I do like her kind of getting to this mile route of ground, this shorter run to that first turn. We'll see if she shows that same kind of early speed, but she just did not do very much running last time out, so I'm anxious to see how she approaches this second race off of the bench. I'm expecting her to move forward, but she is a little short trying to kind of glean off of that last no-show effort.
Happy to see the calendar turn. 2025 not kind to her, 0 for 7. Seeking that first victory since her debut last December at Fairgrounds. Goal was Delight. Then towards the outside, Showers, Maggie Moss, Tom Amos, Christian Torres, Human Element intact.
She's kind of, I find some of a little bit of a default filly off of that win in Starter Allowance Company back on November the 26th, where she ran well. She gets to the mile here, 3 back, where she was at the mile distance. She stalked and then kind of faded there. And she makes sense on facts and figures. She makes sense on paper. Does contend with an outside draw. Has been able to be a little bit more tactical, and there is some speed involved here, so we'll see how she trips out. But gets Christian Torres, who's been seeing the ball very well. And then a horse to root for, our colleague Tom Amos. I did end up on the Asmussen Runner, but she's kind of that other horse for me. I'm kind of wanting to see Goals Delight get another start off of the bench.
You mentioned the speed. Several fillies and mares in this field that are quick. Who is the quickest? Who you expect to set the tempo early on?
Well, the one Kentucky Smoke Show, as Andy mentioned, has one way to go, and that's forward with speed from that inside draw. Long shot there, but I think Ozona will be quick. Showed some speed last time out there, sprinting the 6 furlongs, getting some added ground here. And, you know, as far as Lady Whoopig, this filly showed speed 2 back. She's not exactly a resonant speed horse, but she's so sharp. She's honestly perhaps a bit dangerous when she comes into the paddock. She's got 2 handlers. She was tacked outside in the winner's circle. And perhaps they just send her. She's a long shot. Perhaps they just get aggressive with her and see how far they can go. Might be an angle there for that long shot in the 6, but there's a good amount of speed in here. We'll see how it fares out, but still landing on the 4.
Our viewers watching these particular races at a mile where they finish up with a short wire, how to watch these races a little bit differently, and how it often appears that jockeys are asking their horses for their very best a little bit earlier than they might otherwise.
I've seen that. Richie Migliore has spoken to this as well. Maybe some of those riders overcompensating for the short stretch. I've seen it from a couple of jockeys just this weekend that we've discussed off camera, and that's key. Not overcompensating, not moving your horses too early, expecting that wire is maybe like a rearview mirror closer than maybe the object appears.
Do you handicap this differently than you would, say, if it was a one-turn mile? Is trip handicapping, is post a little bit more significant, a little bit more important to you?
Absolutely. A tactical position is everything in terms of the shorter run to the clubhouse turn, shorter run to the first turn, and then, of course, the shorter stretch. So you have to take that into consideration at Oaklawn. Every handicapper around knows that now. With that modified configuration, it's a bit different. So it's a huge aspect of it, and one where a lot of the times, especially when you're drawn towards the inside, you're wanting to be able to get that position forwardly tracking so you're not in trouble late.
Couple of races left on this final day of the holiday meet. A different schedule this season at Oaklawn Park. This is a first, Megan, where we have this holiday meet racing for several weeks to kick off the Oaklawn meet, and then things will be quiet here, dark for 3 weeks until we resurface Southwest weekend.
Yeah, 3-week break. I'm going to go sit on the beach. I'm kidding. I will see you in New York next week. Andy, Greg, very excited, of course, to see my shining face. You're welcome. But I'm excited to get back up to New York next weekend. I'll come back, of course, Richie Migliore joining the team here for Southwest coverage alongside you. It's going to be so much fun. And just a precaution for Oaklawn as far as some of the really harsh weather conditions, the winter realities of hot springs sometimes as far as running. So we get a little break. We'll come back, and just lots to look forward to for the remainder of this classic meeting starting Southwest weekend.
But first things first, these final 2 races on the Sunday program. Colonial Rose 9 to 5 at post time, the 10th from Oaklawn, live on FS1. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Loaded Kentucky Smoke Show, C'est La Vie Charlie, Thestral, and Ozora. Colonial Rose goes it. Showers about to come up. Lady Whoopig. Ladies and gentlemen, we might have a slight delay. The 9 asking for a raise is acting up in the gate. Stand by. The rider is okay there. Walter de la Cruz. Stand by.
Okay, so good to hear from Matt Dinnerman that Walter de la Cruz appeared okay, but asking for a raise, number 9, acting up in the starting gate, and looks like we'll have a delay before the start of this 10th race.
When they usually do that, they tend to scratch him in the way this horse flipped in the gate. Nice to hear that everything is okay, appearingly with, suspect, with Walter de la Cruz, who's picked up some mounts today, had a winner earlier in the card, a hard-fought one there. I believe he ran second in that race, but anyway, close call.
He won that race.
He won that race.
Yeah.
He won that race. But we'll see. I believe it will be a late scratch as we listen to the call overhead.
She is out. It's been announced Eskin for a raise is a scratch. In terms of her running style, does that change anything? Does that change the complexion of the race whatsoever?
She looked like a long shot on paper, and it appears that it shouldn't change things up too much, kind of that mid-range type, so it wasn't as if she was going to affect the pace up front early by any means.
So a late scratch. There she is, Eskin for a raise, who looks no worse for wear. And look forward to seeing her resurface before long. Yes, that's the best news is that she looked okay, and Walter De La Cruz looks just fine as well.
First and foremost, thinking about the health of both human and horse, but we're going around. She's there with the pony. She will exit the track. Not playing today, but honestly, she was sharp, but she wasn't the filly I expected to flip through the gate. There were a couple of others in there that were very sharp, but she hopefully everything okay and all cylinders go for her hopefully in the future. But it is some of these horses that were sharp, as I mentioned, have to wait a bit longer, reload, keep them moving, and keep their mind on business, because some of them certainly, you'll see the one there, very sharp, very sharp.
Kentucky Smoke Show. Hopefully they can get her settled down before they reload here momentarily for this 10th race. Oaklawn Park. Upset moments ago in the feature, the Mockingbird. You had a chance to speak with Robert Klein in the winner's circle. Really a cool story there with he and Kelsey Haar getting a first win and some momentum, being that they hadn't won a race this holiday meet, some momentum before we shut things down for a few weeks and resurface at the end of January.
Well, their team, their family,
Yep.
Kelsey and Robert, and they get on their horses in the morning. You see them every morning working really hard and getting to know them a little bit here while I've been at Oaklawn, and it's just really fun to see those kinds of stories come together, and she just powered away beautifully, and as Robert had mentioned, maybe some added ground in her future, but really exciting to have kind of a stakes winner in the barn for those kind of connections and a great story. Hoping all the best is that hopefully we'll be able to see her move forward at Oaklawn Park, because they are stalwarts here.
Kelsey has a following. Very popular, and a popular result in the Mockingbird about half an hour ago here at Oaklawn Park. So we'll try this again. Hopefully these fillies and mares will mind their manners. Filing back into the gates. Let's try this again. 10th race from Oaklawn. Matt Dinnerman on the mic.
Azona, Colonial Rose, two back, Showers, and Thea. Showers goes in, Thea to the outside post. Here's Thea and Alfredo Triana Jr. We're ready to go. And we're off. Sharp beginning from Quiet I'm Not. Gowl's Delight is prominent. Quiet I'm Not takes a hold. Here comes Azona to be part of the pace between horses. She's fresh and wants to go. Azona has the lead going into the first turn run. Thestral runs in second. Kentucky Smoke Show inside of her. Gowl's Delight off the pace is fourth now. Length and a half in front of Bolt on the Rocks. Then comes Quiet I'm Not, who broke the best. She's running six behind in the red jacket. Showers is next in the field. A length and a half clear of Lady Woodpig, Colonial Rose, and Sea La Vie Charlet as they swing up the backstretch. Ozona is the pacemaker. Half length. Kentucky Smoke Show there pressing from the rail. In third, Gowl's Delight. Bolt on the Rocks is keen, and there she goes. Was fifth on the first turn down the backstretch. She's right up to engage Ozona down the backside, and Gowl's Delight remains patient in that third spot. Thestrals between horses. Kentucky Smoke Show backs away from the speed. Quiet I'm Not is next. Thea park deep as they go into the fourth turn run. Then comes Lady Woodpig, Colonial Rose backing away, joined by Showers, and Sea La Vie Charlie is yet to pass a runner as they round the far turn. Remember, this race will end at the 16th pole. Ozona on the lead, being asked to keep pace. Bolt on the Rocks is right there. Gowl's Delight and the three path comes calling for the lead at the top of the lane. Then comes Thea. She's swinging four wide off the turn. Right behind them, Lady Woodpig is in with a big shot at 37-1. They're off the turn. Gowl's Delight has the lead. Lady Woodpig right up alongside, trying to spring the upset. Thestral trying to get there too. Here comes Lady Woodpig. Here comes Thestral. They're swarming Gowl's Delight. Thestral and Lady Woodpig to the line. Thestral, Lady Woodpig tight. Les Thestral got it on the inside. Thestral by a nose over Lady Woodpig. Then Showers, who came on late, might have been fourth. Gowl's Delight right behind.
What a finish. Lady Woodpig, Thestral hitting the wire simultaneously in the 10th race at Oaklawn Park.
Lindsay Schultz, this meet has been incredible, teaming up with Francisco Arrieta, and this horse took a big step up in class. I'll finish second in that $25,000 claimer last time out, and wow, did Lady Woo Pig run today. Some long shots up there with Gal's Delight, who appeared to just need the start off the bench. She did much better, did much more running today, but wow, they were kind of all coming together around the turn, and you could tell it was going to be a dogfight. But congratulations to Schultz and Arrieta both. I mean, that was a hard-fought victory late. I was subconsciously rooting for the 6 just because of the enormous price, but congratulations.
Lady Woo Pig 37-1. Francisco Arrieta on the inside. Thestral, he's pumping his fist like he knew he had it all along.
It looked like it. Looks like there is an inquiry here just posted. We'll follow up with some more information as we listen to Matt Dinnerman up with the call above.
3, 6, 8, 11. Take a look at the overhead. Coming into the stretch. Thestral, Francisco Arrieta. The 6, Lady Woo Pig. Thestral on the inside with Arrieta. Lady Woo Pig right alongside. Did you see anything?
I mean, towards the end there late, it was kind of in tight there for Gal's Delight, but was she going to get through that seam is the question. I'm not seeing anything too overt. It looks like it's down now, so no change. Quick inquiry, and it looks like it's done.
Dismissed. 3, 6, 8, 11. Exciting finish to this 10th race at Oak Lawn Park. Trainer Lindsay Schultz. 10 strike racing. Francisco Arrieta entering the winner's circle with Thestral. Their 4th career victory. 2 of those right here at Oak Lawn Park. Fireworks in the 10th race with 1 left in Hot Springs. Plus, when we return, a New Jersey bred sprinting machine, Bookham Dano, sprint champion finalist, Ben Tornado, 2nd in the Breeders' Cup Sprint in 24, the winner in 25, also a Eclipse Award finalist.
Back with you on our Fox Sports coverage on this Sunday afternoon, America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Thriller in the 10th at Oaklawn, and it goes to Thestral. Lindsay Schultz, Francisco Arrieta. Let's go to Megan.
Well, Lindsay has certainly had the magic touch here at Oaklawn to start the meet. And man, you really believed in this filly stepped her up in class, and she responded today.
Look, the filly's had some class all her life, and she got a good break today. She got a good trip, and we're really happy with her.
You've just been on a roll here at Oaklawn in this holiday meet. Can you just speak to the strength of the barn? You worked really hard to procure some new horses, some talent, and it's really been showing.
Yeah, we have. Our owners have been really supportive, and we got some new 2-year-olds, and we've had some nice claims, so it's worked out so far.
Well, congratulations here. Incredible win, and best of luck in this last race.
Thanks, Megan.
Greg?
An incredibly hot start for Lindsay Schultz. 24% coming into today. Thestral with the win, $13 for the victory. And will that barn have a chance, in the nightcap as well to come?
Yeah, the last race as usual, another competitive race to close things out. Often the case, it feels like El Prestigio, the 7, looks like the horse to be, at least on paper.
But for Lindsay Schultz, yeah, she'll have a long shot. Might be tough to come up with this one. A Moody Bay she will send out in here. This race, 6 furlongs, first level allowance race to close things out. 4-year-olds and up.
Why am I confused here? Oh, the 6 horse. I'm sorry, Greg. I didn't say it. Yes, she does have a long shot. You're right. I couldn't find the horse.
Okay.
You said the horse's name. I, for some reason, didn't see it when I went through.
All right, so more on this one coming up. 20 minutes to post. We've been talking about the Eclipse Awards with the finalists having been announced, and a horse that had been really just a tremendous story and a favorite of ours because we got to know the owners a little bit. Bookham Dano, the pride of New Jersey, finalist, had a great run summer. Late summer as well, then decided controversially to pass on the Breeders' Cup.
Well, he's not nominated. He's in California. Got to pay a lot to run. I'm not going to knock him. They made a lot of good choices with this horse, and they've handled him well, and they've been rewarded for it. So to criticize this owner group for not running the Breeders' Cup, I would never do that. I don't think the Breeders' Cup is the be-all and end-all either, so I'm with them. I would give it to Bookham Dano. Maybe you call me a little bit of a homer, and maybe I am a little bit of a homer because he ran so much in New York. But I thought overall he had the best year campaign. I have no problem with giving it to Ben Tornado, who I thought was absolutely sensational, and I think that Bookham Dano would have trouble being the Breeders' Cup. Part of that reason might have been because he ran hard all year, and Ben Tornado didn't make his return to the races of the fall and ran just twice. So I'd give it to Bookham Dano, had a more complete campaign, and I don't think in any way you could say whoever wins this isn't deserving.
Grade 3, Grade 2, Grade 1 in the forego at Saratoga, and that was the end of his season, Bookham Dano, but another tremendous year, and this ownership group looking to have more fun with him in 2026.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and they, we appreciate how much they run in New York, and they've had so much success here, but other places too. So if he had won the Churchill Downs Handicap, he would have
a lock, right?
Been a lock for this award. If you didn't vote for him, you'd be wrong, at least in my opinion. And I thought he ran the best race that day. The problem is you can't count he was best or she was best that day when you're voting for Eclipse Awards. Like Sierra Leone in the Jacob Gold Cup. I would say he'd be the older handicap winner, hands down. Had he won that race, he didn't. Was he best? Yeah, but he didn't win, and winning does matter in these awards. And the fact that he didn't win that Churchill Down race, I think that'll hurt him a little bit.
As for Ben Tornado, he just missed in this race to straight no chaser last year. He did not come back until September of his 5-year-old campaign. He was dominant in a stakes race at Churchill, a non-graded stake, and then he ran even better in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
His 2 races were great. I'm in no way knocking him. I'm not, and I don't have a problem if he wins this award. I would give it to Bookham Dano because I think he had a stronger year, but this horse was very, very good. He just didn't run very often.
2 starts, 2 dominant wins. And at least he did it on opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, no, I don't have any. I'm not one of these. I saw some silliness. You don't vote for Ben Tornado. Talking about that. That's just gibberish. That's just hometown favoritism crap. They both are deserving winners, but there can only be one winner. And to me, I'm a little biased because we know the connections. We've been watching Bookham Dano since he was a 2-year-old. We're fans, so I'd love to see him win. Having said that, I don't think there's a horse that's undeserving between the two of them.
Yeah, both terrific campaigns. And, yeah, we'll see. Be interesting. I mean, where this winds up. And, the third horse in the mix, Nyso's going to steal some votes away from one of these two.
Yeah, I don't. I am an Isos fan. I don't believe that he should win an Eclipse award. I think too many people, though, that vote, unfortunately, don't really follow the game, and they just look at Breeders' Cups and things like that. And, they would do well to weed out a lot of the voters that don't deserve and haven't shown the respect for the Eclipses that they should show. Having said that, chips will fall as they do.
Could be a tight race, but again, with as much weight people put on the Breeders' Cup, sort of seems like it's leaning towards Ben Tornado.
It seems like a lot of tight races end up not being tight because people all decide the same thing. You could say that last year with Sierra Leone and Fierceness, where Sierra Leone just dominated him in the votes. I would have voted for Sierra Leone too, but I don't think it should have been a dominant win, And you almost wish people could say, I'll give 0.63% of my vote for this horse and 0.37 for another one, because I think a lot of them are closer to coin flips.
I believe we're throwing it back to Hot Springs. I've lost my talk back here, but I think that's what's happening.
We are.
To get Lafitte and Megan's
They've been
thoughts.
yelling at you for minutes here.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, this is where it's gray, it's tricky. It's because it's subjective, where the voters don't really have any concrete guidelines to follow, right, Megan? So I think for the voter, what it's going to come down to, if you believe the Breeders' Cup being the stage designed to decide championships, Ben Tornado having won on that particular stage against some of the very best sprinters in the game, and the fact that we didn't have a chance to see Bookham Dano, and it wasn't an injury or anything. It was a choice to bypass the Breeders' Cup Sprint and not compete on what is set aside as a championship stage.
I'm also one that appreciates bodies of work and a resume. And while I have all of the respect in the world for Breeders' Cup champion and one that ran incredibly well on two coasts or two different circuits, two different tracks for the D'Angelo barn, who had a tremendous year. She's so spicy, Ben Tornado. But I'm a Bookham Dano fan, and not just a fan, but a horse that has proven himself against the best of division on best of the division at the time, minus Ben Tornado, on multiple occasions. So I think the body of work to me does trump. But as Andy had mentioned, there's no undeserving horse of the two, and it does come down to your viewpoint on if the Breeders' Cup is the end-all, be-all for you. But self-consciously, I think there might be some fans out there that maybe wish we could have seen these two horses battle it out together, the ultimate showdown. But I think the body of work and the resume to me speaks volumes for a horse in Bookham Dano, but each incredibly talented, hoping to see them next year.
Yeah, Greg and Andy, it shouldn't be a factor, but even like a horse's popularity plays in with the voters from time to time. Again, it gets tricky when you don't really have any real guidelines to follow when it comes to deciding and voting on Eclipse Awards, Horse of the Year, etc.
Yeah, I mean, every single voter has their own way, what they think should be a winner. We talk about with the jockeys as well, but a lot of these voters, they just look at wins, earnings. That's not how you should do it.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of voters that just don't do their homework. And I think if you're going to have a vote for something like that, you should respect it. And if you're not going to respect it, you shouldn't have a vote. It's as simple as that. And, I know people are saying, Bookham Dano didn't go to the Breeders' Cup. Okay, Ben Tornado didn't come to the Forego. He made his return that year a couple of weeks later. He could have come to Saratoga.
We're going to take a timeout. Weekend finale from Hot Springs. When we come back on our Sunday coverage, stay with us.
She's so spicy. Speedy in that sprint.
Archangelo, the Belmont winner in charge. The Grade 1 Whitney to Arthur's ride.
And Adair Manor will take the Clementel Hirsch. Olympiad gets the gold. It is Timberlake who's going to win.
Tap it twice. Tap it twice.
Sierra Leone in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
A provision in a bill passed this summer reduces the tax deduction for wagering losses from 100% to 90%. This unfair change would tax horse players on a percentage of their losses, could cost over $1 billion in handle, and threaten thousands of jobs in the racing industry. That's why the NTRA is fighting to pass the Wager Act, a new bill that would restore the deduction to 100%. Tell Congress to pass the Wager Act. Visit ntra.com/wager.
Shoot, when I was 2 years old, my mom took me on a horseback ride. It was all over. It was like, I can't even explain to you that it just kind of, no matter what I did or where I went, the horses always pulled me back in.
Ingrid Mason has always been a character.
Even when I was modeling, I always had to go back to the horses. Knucklehead. This horse actually I bought out of a sale when he was young.
As a child, she loved horses, but knew nothing about racing.
I just got out of high school pretty much, and that when I was 19, and I watched the Derby with my stepfather.
The 116th run for the Roses goes to Unbridled.
I said, there it is, that's what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. I was gonna be in horse racing. I didn't know exactly how I was gonna do it, I had no clue. Didn't know anybody from the racetrack. So it's kind of an interesting story, but I managed to get it done.
Ingrid set off shortly thereafter to become a jockey.
My mom always knew when I put my mind to something that it was going to happen. I don't think anybody really knew the path that I was going to take to get where I was.
Her journey would include 2 years in Dubai working horses and riding training races for Sheikh Mohammed.
When I was there was nothing there. We got lost, we just looked for the trade center. That's how we found our way around. We had these cell phones that were this big, you know, and he'd call us up in the middle of the day to go work horses. It was right after Desert Storm and not a lot of people wanted to go. And like me, I just like a challenge. That was the coolest thing, to be able to be associated with Sheikh Mohammed. He's one of the most amazing people I ever met. Sat us all down on big screen TV and said, oh, I'm gonna have the richest race in thoroughbred race in the world right here in Dubai. And we're just kind of like, and he was showing us how he was gonna do it. And he did it, you know, and that was that many years ago. So, you know, he made it happen.
After Dubai, Mason spent time riding mostly in Northern California. She rode plenty of long shots and worked various jobs in racing before finding her true calling as a trainer.
I thought he ran good. I just, we were outgunned, that's all. You have to have the heart and want to. It's not an easy job. I mean, you have to really, really want it to get it. I think everybody deserves a shot and a chance, and I think if the horses run for you and you have that heart and spirit, the horses catch on to everything. They are so majestic. Like everything you feel, everything those grooms, our whole team matters. The whole team matters when it comes to horse racing.
Saw the Kentucky Derby on television when she was just a child and said, that's what I want to do. Briefly was a jockey and now a trainer, and she's had a lot of success on the Oakland circuit.
I like that. I really don't know very much about her. I feel like we're learning about her, and I like that a lot. She's tough. I like that.
This is the one that she will send out, Strike Ridge, the 9. 9-1 right now. 7-time winner from 18 starts.
When I think of Ingrid Mason, I think back to a time in Saratoga when my friend Travis Stone was doing the morning line, and she had a first-time starter come in. He made a big price, and the horse had good works out of town, and he shockingly managed to get a first-time starter from a trainer out of town, got the morning line wrong. The horse got bet off the board, and the whole world abused Travis about it. So every time I see one of her horses, I always think of that story and how unfair that was to have missed Ingrid Mason shipping in a first-time starter. By the way, the horse did not win, but she's a good trainer. And
her horse here, by the way, incredible form at Prairie Meadows earlier this year before taking a brief break, and then the comeback race for her. Obviously struggled, but there's ability there.
I agree, and I think it's fair to say that she should do better going shorter. Or he should do better going shorter. Now, whether or not he's good enough to beat these horses, he's only 9-1. It's not like he's a big price in here. I mean, he's basically the fourth choice, actually, looking at the board. The cutback should help.
Ramon Vasquez will ride Post Parade coming up to close out this weekend action here from Hot Springs. We'll start our Post Parade off here in a moment with Lundberg, who has been first or second in 12 of 27 career outings, including a win last time out for $30,000.
For a trainer that wins at a high percentage, I have to think that he's a player in this race. Are you surprised to see him 12? He's got to come down from 12 to 1.
I would think.
He's got to be one of the second or third choice in this race, I would think.
84 buyer in a win, and that was here at Oaklawn last time out, but is jumping up. That was 30 claiming.
It was, but he's got back figures to back it up. I mean, he's fast enough to compete. He's gotten a good trip, but why can't he get another good trip in here?
Next door, the 2 Oigavold, Ricardo Santana Jr. rides.
You got to get Matt Ditterman's boning up on his Yiddish to get this one particularly right, and you look at the last 3 dirt races, they're all fast figs.
Hit the board in 6 of 9 career starts. Here's miracle worker Ron Moquette.
He's got back figures fast enough, but his recent form needs to improve a little bit.
Poor outing last out for Al's Romeo.
Yeah, he looks a little slow. Once again, another horse you've got to go back to last year at Oaklawn is in good form, but his recent form not good enough.
Here's Gun Flash, Ray Ashford.
I don't think he should be 20 to 1 in
No.
here. His last race wasn't that bad.
Not bad at all, with trouble as well. Had traffic in that race.
Yep.
Here's a Moody Bay for Lindsey Schultz.
This horse looks over his head in this race in his dirt form.
El Prestigio, even money.
Yeah, I'm not running to bet even money, but he has run 2 fast races in a row, and he drew well towards the outside.
Here's Beast Sud, Don Von Hemel.
Yeah, he's another horse, once again. He's on the fringes of being competitive here. Why is he 17 to 1?
The Ingrid Mason run to the 9 went by.
And we talked about that horse, not impossible in the cutback. Get a piece at least.
El Rey Dorado was just second at Oaklawn. That was back in May, so not seen since.
Been a while. Been in 9 months, or 8 months, excuse me.
Clamp it. Christian Torres rides.
Well, he's got that form back for Diodoro at Del Mar that's fast enough, but his last race was a disaster.
And the sharp form from the also eligible that draws in this 13 has come at Remington.
That's the thing. Can he bring that form here? And he's going to probably have to improve on it. I don't know if he's a 53 to 1 shot, but he's not one of the main contenders.
Back to Lafitte and Megan.
One final race, guys, before we say goodbye for 3 weeks. Resume racing here at Oaklawn Park for the Southwest Stakes at the end of January here. Megan, by the way, for these standings, it's not as if we start over. Between the holiday meet and the classic meet, it's all inclusive. So the stats you see now for the jockeys and trainers, all of that, it does continue.
All-inclusive cruise package here at Oaklawn. Joking, but and I will say, just viewing from the jockey standings, the homers and Ramon Vasquez and Christian Torres are certainly holding their ground, and this is a robust colony that I'm excited to see continue to progress. But we've got a 6-5 shot in this last race that I like, but does not have this overwhelming edge on this field. And while I do like this horse, I found it to be a little bit more wide open.
Why such a heavy favorite then? 6-5 pictured here. El Prestigio, Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen looking to close out a very productive weekend together.
Has a recency edge. I mean, everybody sees the 5-length romp, 93 buyer speed figure 2 back at Keeneland, where he ran very well. As we take a look at that race, breaking his maiden, a son of Practical Joke, and it took him some time to get there. He was the bridesmaid in many of those efforts, including here at Oaklawn Park, encountering some wet tracks. Got the job done in this race, and he ran incredibly well. One that is forward, I believe will show speed yet again here in this race, underneath Joel Rosario, and he looked fantastic in the paddock. I don't have any issues with him physically. To me, he looked best, and to me in my brain as a handicapper always hard to, when I'm having this short price, I understand that maybe he's not the overwhelming favorite, I would say, just based on facts and figures, but he looks fantastic, and he certainly appears to have talent, as he showed 2 back, and then last time out here.
What happened in the latest, and how would you compare that field that he faced at Churchill Downs, where he was 5-2? He finished 4th. Those allowance runners compared to the allowance runners he's about to face here?
I mean, he's had some strong form lines. Last out, we saw Stiglitz come back and just power away
yesterday's nightcap. That was impressive.
That was incredibly impressive. Big figure that horse earned. So he's been up against some strong foes. He's ran against Dreamin' in Blue, 3 back, who came back to win a stake here. So he's been in against stake caliber foes. You see Donut Gold, Ferocious, some strong form lines. So I think that he could just be better than this group, but hopefully that he's able to kind of sit that kind of more forward trip, as he has been shuffled back in a couple of his efforts, and I feel like he's a horse that you want to take a little bit more forward.
About number 2, Oijavold, defeated favorite at this level earlier in the meet. Why should today be any different?
Well, he's coming in here for Jimmy DeVito off a pretty decent effort in N1X. As I mentioned there, he bobbled at the break. We saw Nikolai come out of that race to, again, become a winner there against Archiebreds. He's been working well. He's kind of runs a very similar race. He comes from off of it. We saw all the way back when he broke his maiden, he was much more forwardly placed that day, but latest, he hasn't been able to show that early speed. It'll be interesting if perhaps Ricardo's a little bit more aggressive with him up there at 7-2, but didn't have any issues with him physically. He was fit and short and compact type there at the 6 furlong distance.
Gun Flash, 21-1. Referenced a 30-some-odd to 1 shot in the last race that was that close to triggering a huge upset. In race 10, Gun Flash, why might today be the day that he gets his first win at Oaklawn in 12 tries, or at least factors?
I mean, he has not been able to secure that win, but I just thought that, as Greg mentioned and Andy both, ran deceptively well on a tougher trip. He was in traffic, and he managed to really improve there coming from off of things that day. And again, he comes into another competitive group, but he has his last performance was on par with some of his better form. So maybe if he can move off of that, he's one that I think could surprise at a price. I don't find him as a win contender, but Ray Ashford Jr. has been really seeing the ball well this meet. He's got some 4-4-17 with Alfredo Triano Jr. aboard, and I don't know, I just feel like the barn's in a rhythm. He seems like one of those price horses that could really intrigue and spice up underneath, even if you don't view him as a win candidate.
Live at a price, question mark. We'll find out. Gun Flash. There's Lumberg overlay at 14-1. Number 3, Miracle Worker at 9-1. Luis Saez aboard for Ron Moquette. Good tactical speed. What are you expecting from him?
I mean, he steps up in class off a well-beaten effort here at Oaklawn back on December the 13th opening weekend, where he pressed up on a gate-to-wire leader as the favorite in that starter allowance try, and he was very much well-beaten that day, but he has some back races that make sense in this group. He's 2 for 8 at Oaklawn Park, proven over the surface, and he's been just consistently racing into form, but has to get a bit better off of that effort last time out where he was ran off of his feet. But again, another price horse that has races that make sense in this group.
Luis Saez aboard. Miracle Worker as they've reached the starting gate. And final check of the tote board reading 6-5. El Prestigio, final race of the holiday meet here at Oaklawn Park. The 11th and final on this Sunday afternoon. Up to Matt Dinnerman with the load and call.
B-side about to walk in. Al's Romeo about to step forward. Strike Ridge coming up. El Rey Dorado, post 10. El Rey Dorado takes his spot in the gate. Clamp it. Gun Flash. Barry Mischievous to the outside post. Here's Barry Mischievous coming up. We're ready to go. And Laroff will give Volt away a little bit slowly, just like last time. Clamp it on the lead with the Mountie Bay. El Prestigio, the favorite in the middle of that pair. And here's Miracle Worker firing forward to be part of the action on the lead. Barry Mischievous, he runs in the 5th position in the green jacket. Lundberg is down on the rail. Between them is El Prestigio. A length and a half back to B-Sud, Strike Ridge. And Oigavold, who tries to make up some ground. He's 5 behind down on the rail. Gap of 2 to the 2 trailers at the back together. Al's Romeo and Gun Flash as they go into the far turn. A Mountie Bay narrow lead. El Prestigio is right there. In the 3 path is Clamp It as they round that turn. Miracle Worker sent along from 4th, losing some ground now. About to be joined by Lundberg, who's trying to get outside for the stretch drive. He's moving up as they come to the top of the lane. El Prestigio off the turn as an arrowhead in front of Clamp It. Inside of Mountie Bay is back in 3rd. Lundberg tries to reel in El Prestigio. Reins gets shaken at him. He gets caught a tap on the shoulder there, and he opens up. El Prestigio with a nice kick here. 4-5 ahead with a 16th to go in a matter of strides. El Prestigio, Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario teaming up with another win on Smarty Jones weekend. Wrapped up. He won by maybe 7. Lundberg was second. Oiga Volt rallies for third. Fourth home was Clampett. We will see you on Friday, January 30th, our next live race day, which begins the classic meet here at Oak.
Last race of this holiday meet. It looked like we had a competitive race until we didn't. El Prestigio by several in the 11th and final with Joel Rosario.
The talent, he flashed two back at Keeneland. Surely met up with this group, rebounding from that race at Churchill last time out. And wow, was he much the best. Took him some time to bring him along to break that maiden. But boy, has he really grown into himself as a 4-year-old son of Practical Joke.
Had 3 or 4 across the track, and you just looked at the jockeys, and 3 or 4 other riders are really riding, asking their horses for their best. And Joel Rosario, still as a statue, gives this horse his cue, and he responds.
We've seen this movie before, that's for sure, but he did. He kind of really settled him. He was forward and he was up on the pace, and it wasn't as if they were crawling whatsoever, but really managed to just pull off, draw away impressively, and certainly won like the favorite should in this finale.
Photo for second not yet available. No question about the winner. Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen, big weekend. El Prestigio in the nightcap. Thanks so much for joining us on America's Day at the Races, where you watch Grace's free. Pull off the big upset, 15-1 in the Mockingbird. Robert Klein, Kelsey Haraboard, their first win of the holiday meet here on closing day. And the 3-year-olds yesterday in the Smarty Jones Strategic Risk Sensational. Cassie Oxley runs 1-2, onward and upward for this Kentucky Derby prospect.